Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I'm nearly done.
Go. Audacity is sounding okay?
I'll tell you in 1 sec.
Alright, alright.
It's just quicker if I like do all the links to like 30 plus different Discord streams all in a row. Right, now check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sonic Storm! Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sonic Storm! Yeah, there's nothing. Everything's cool.
Alright, cool, cool, cool.
Say when you want me to start.
Alright, go ahead, start it. Hello everybody, welcome back to another week of the KCM. Here we are. Crazy times going on in the world right now, but continuing on with Season 5 of the KCM. I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention the political situation that's going down in Korea right now. Generally, we try to steer away from that. This is our place for, our escape from the norm of life, which is just constant political discussion online. But this is something that does affect us directly. So there is some sort of craziness going on in Korea right now with some sort of presidential person losing his mind and calling for martial law. I think that's all been handled, though.
Yeah.
Things went crazy. There was people fighting the military with fire extinguishers. Man, it was nuts to watch. But
well, I heard there was some kind of like doom drop in the main base of the parliament or something, and then like some pro gamers united and did some like beautiful blankets of Sonic Storm just to like cover those choke points and managed to hold on easily enough. Democracy won out this time, and we can still bring you these great games.
I guess they had some pretty good SimCity at the entrance to the parliament, so able to hold off the military. Absolutely wild. Really, really glad that we're getting KCM still this week.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to say about it. We've got Jadong starting out here versus Tyson, who's a newcomer to the lineup.
Yeah, you don't really see a lot of Tyson. He's a very well-rounded player. This guy has made lots of money over the years, but, not exactly on the same kind of par as these other guys, although he is a very well-rounded player, so he should hopefully give us a good game or two at the very least. Already being a little bit annoying with this probe to Jadong, trying to slow him down. Maybe he can get that block on this hat tree while going for a Nexus first here.
Nexus first out of Tyson on a 2-player map. Yep. Doesn't block the hatchery. He's seen the timing on this pool. Absolutely necessary that he gets the forge started right away. Oh my goodness, 5 HP on that drone.
Yeah.
Going to send that to a more protected patch over there at the top, but that'll still be a target for Tyson. Could try to come back in and find that again.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be making some lings now. Finally did get that hatchery down. The natural expansion was delayed a tiny bit, slightly obfuscating the timings for Jadong to worry about. So we'll have a slightly slower lava timing and things like that. Not too much. And he hasn't drone scouted, so he's relying purely on his overlord. So he doesn't know exactly what Tyson's going for. So he's kind of obfuscated this Nexus first while harassing Jadong, which is quite critical. And now he's trying to desperately catch this scouting probe. If he keeps the scouting probe alive and circles around to scout, he's going to be feeling so good. Look at him. He's going to be feeling so good about himself now.
He only went for 1 cannon, so it is risky. He's going to have to pull some probes. That cannon's just barely going to finish up. We're going to be able to see a run by from Jadong. There's not enough space, I think,
Ooh, this is
Yeah,
well
that cannon
out.
finishes just in time.
Yeah. This is good from Tyson.
Well planned.
Yeah, I really like
Well
this from
planned
Tyson.
indeed.
I mean, Jaedong here might just go for a 973, but only if he can easily disguise that. Now this probe is just running around Ring of Rosie and the main base of Tyson here, disrupting the mining pathing. It's really frustrating for Jaedong. He probably will be tempted just to throw down the lair instead.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be a situation where you just have to play from behind.
Yeah.
No choice as the Zerg player. There's no way to hide a building when the probe is in your main. You have to build on the creep, so there's really no options. You can't build something out on the map and hope to be successful with that, so...
Right.
Jaedong just going to follow along the normal build path. Try to find an angle to take back some control in this game a little bit later on.
Yeah, Stargate does go down. Very crisp timing from Tyson. It's going to be a very standard build order from Tyson, but because he's gone for a Nexus first, all his timings will be pretty punchy as a result. So Jaedong might have his work cut out for him. He's got to play from behind and play catch up. He'll be the same kind of relative game state, but everything just pushed back a little bit for Jaedong to what his opponent is doing. So needs to be very on top of things. Has got some extra Zerglings coming out, trying to go down on the southern threshold, see if they can intercept this Zealot coming down on the bottom pathway. Would be ideal, but he's actually turning those around now. Okay, I think he might split off enough Zerglings to find them, but needs to make sure he doesn't lose any of these drones. Like, he's already taken a little bit of damage here, and against the Nexus first, needs every little bit of help in optimization.
Yeah, he's got to handle this Zealot harassment perfectly in order to have any chance in the later parts of the game with his economy being this far behind. This is some great control. Pulling back those links perfectly and only loses one there, I think.
Yeah.
Versus that Zealot. Beautifully done. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, these are the little tiny things that'll add up to a lot later on. He's still behind, but if he can just avoid any drone mining time loss or like losing a drone here and there and cleaning up the Zealots cost efficiently, this will all add up in a big way going into that mid-game phase. He can get his 6 hatcheries online, maybe even consider an Ogre Zerg play here. There's so many options to Jaedong if he can just stay optimized.
This first Corsair is going to move towards the path way through the middle of the map, the fastest pathway that the Hydras would take if they were coming towards this natural, but there's nothing on the way just yet. One single Overlord in the main base will probably be the target. He actually sends the Corsair down to the 3rd. Unfortunately, will not find any Overlords with this first Corsair, and maybe Jaedong can get away without losing a single one. There's one over in the top right-hand corner. Jaedong pulled all his Overlords back very early. And I think he's just going to lose just the one. Oh my god, it's so close. You can see on the mini-map, he's just barely missing that Overlord in the top right-hand corner. And it looks like Jaedong may end up saving it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of gas just disappear for Jaedong. Is he making Mutalisks right now, do you think? Or do you think he's just going to go straight into like a mass Hydralisk play here? There's a possibility we may see either a lot of Scourge or a lot of maybe a Muta switch here. He could try and go for an Ogre Zerg. He did take a relatively fast second gas and a third gas now. These gas timings are pretty quick from Jaedong. This could be an Ogre Zerg.
Definitely looking that way. I didn't even see a Hydralisk then. Oh, if he could catch just one of these Corsairs, the Ogre Zerg play would be so much stronger, but a cannon finishes up in the main. A few more drones going to pop out. There's the creep colonies. Yeah, I don't even see a Hydra Den up yet. There's one creep in the natural, trying to build the bare minimum amount of defense while going for these mutas, and he's going to catch the Zealots coming in. This is great.
Yeah.
Everything really going well for Jaedong since the early game deficit with the Nexus first. He's just basically held on perfectly, and he's maneuvered himself into a position without losing a single Overlord, a drone, or any mining time. He has a very good chance of making this Ogre Zerg play work, but it's going to come down to one very important engagement.
Yeah, he slipped out a DT here. This might come in crucial later on, but has done a great job of not being slowed down initially. And Corsairs have circumnavigated the Overlord, trying to sneak around to this third base pocket. There's only one Overlord protecting the Sunken here. If he can somehow snipe that with the Corsairs, maybe this D2 can absolutely reign supreme. There's 6 Corsairs, but they're 6 Scourge, but they get completely sniped by the neutron flares of the Corsairs at that rally point. And now there's 2 more Overlords hatching, but they might die in very short succession here.
Those 2 Overlords go down immediately, and now he's got complete control over this base. The DT can't get over to the drones just yet. Another Overlord pops out. He tries to surround that DT, but it fights back. Diving in now with some Scourge. He doesn't get any connections.
Wow.
He's having a really hard time dealing any damage to these Corsairs. They are going to keep killing off Overlords over and over again. He's forced to continue to build these because every time that there's a lack of Overlord coverage in this area, the DTs can potentially dive in. So much damage. So many Overlords have died. Where are the mutas? Where are all the Scourge that should be coming in to help? Deny this. It's crazy how long this has gone on for, Shun.
He's made so many Scourge that have died, so many Overlords that have died. This is becoming untenable, saying, I don't think Jadon expected this to spiral this much out of control. He's still losing the Scourge as they're hatching. This is a really dire situation. Finally, some Hydras coming up for the natural expansion to try and deal with this, to try and push these Corsairs away. Finally, but he has to pull his drones as well. This is the worst case scenario for Jadon. Like, without losing the game, it's about as bad as things could have gone.
Yeah, this has gone from a pretty reasonable situation to absolute pandemonium for Jaedong. He was holding on so nicely right up until that moment, until those Corsairs slid along the bottom side of the map and surprised him at that third base. Now this attack coming across the map is going to be so potent. I don't know if Jaedong can hold on. He's lost so many Overlords this game. His production has been hampered so much.
I mean,
he's got almost nothing here.
He's killed like most of the Corsairs, but now what? You haven't got enough to deal with the infantry. There's even a couple of straggler Corsairs left to like harass your Overlords and deal with your softened up mutas. This is looking really bad for Jaedong right now. Tyson also stops the Hydras getting to the safety of the Sim City critically as the High Templars finally reach the point of entry. This is looking crazy and crazier and crazier. Finally, some more and more mutas starting to hatch. You realize there's only a few Corsairs. Maybe he can take advantage of the skies right now. Beautiful Storm's trying to blanket on top of his own Corsairs to deal with that. Finally catches the mutas. That's such a big Sonic Storm. Why was that? Tyson is playing out of his mind right now.
Oh, Jaedong thought that there was no more Storm left. He dives in on top of the last Templar, and that one surprise Storm kills every single mutas in the stack. Oh, that was so painful. Jaedong did a very good job in the early game bringing himself back, but things start to spiral out of control in PvZ, and you hit the wall so hard.
Damn. I mean, yeah.
That was a F1 crash right there.
Yeah. Oh man, there was a lot of debris just flying into the crowd. Like mechanics are jumping over the barriers, desperately trying to get to that flaming wreckage of Jaedong right now. Please, hopefully there's enough safety precautions in this day and age that he hasn't actually died. But that was a crazy crash.
All right. Ouch.
Whew.
Well, what was that? 10, 11 mutas died to one Storm?
I don't know. It was enough to be painful, yeah.
Yeah, you could see that he just thought that there was no more Storm. He went to go micro something else.
That was a nice 1-2 punch from Tyson, though. Like he had such a tiny window to punish Jaedong. Like any longer, and the mutas start to be a bit more annoying because he's not got many Corsairs and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So yeah, honestly, like really well played from Tyson. I'm impressed.
Yeah, anytime the Corsairs can just sit over top of your hatcheries, though, just keep killing Overlords.
Yeah, it was such a nice idea, though, to sneak the Corsairs all the way around the entire map, right along the bottom side like that. It was a nice idea.
Yeah, he might have actually been able to challenge the Corsairs if Six Scourge didn't pop out and die right as soon as they... Yeah.
If he actually knew the Corsairs were coming and he could plan for it better and stuff, like Jaedong probably wouldn't have just like completely got slapped in the face there. But yeah.
All right, let's watch Mong play. They're gonna send him out right away. I think this is a good choice.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the best time to set
utilize him against
Tyson. To get this Protoss player, especially against someone like Tyson. You don't Tyson to get 2 wins. You know what I mean? Like you can't help him handle that.
I wouldn't expect him to beat Light or Royal, but
anything's possible. Puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Use your ace in the hole. That's really good at this matchup right now, and try and get as much value out of Monk. Because Monk might be able to go back to back games. If he gets lucky against Action or Queen, then he might be able to also take out another Protoss player. He's suddenly like got so much value.
All right, let's see how he does. Always sad to see Jaedong go out first, man.
Yeah.
Guy has such a long, storied history. Such a crowd favorite as well, but it was some good tactical play from Tyson.
Yeah.
Sliding around and surprising with those Corsairs, and of course the follow-up was nice as well.
Lee Jaedong, 보고 싶어요. Which means I miss Lee Jaedong. It's a shame we can't see more of him and more of that old self that he used to be. Such a tyrant, such a master of Zerg versus Zerg, and an absolute beast with his unit control and his macro ability. It's a shame we don't see quite as many of those games anymore, but it's okay. There's new stars showing up. The sky is still bright with stars in Starcraft, fortunately. And Tyson's also doing well for himself, although he's going up against Mong. And Mong is an absolute macro monster in TVP. He's almost terrible in TVZ, but in TVP, he's amazing.
They're going to send out their Protoss sniper, the Terran squad, selecting Mong to take down Tyson. I think it's a good choice.
Yeah.
Send him out and get some use out of this player. It's not every day that we get Mong. Not every week that we get Mong in the KCM lineup, but when he is sent out, he's much more of a pro league player. He is a sniper for his squad, and they're going to put him to good use now.
Absolutely. If he can deal with... he's not necessarily good in the other matchups, but if he can somehow deal with one of these Zerg players, he could go back to back games and get 3 players in a row easily here. He's that good in TVP. At the very least, he might be able to squash Tyson before he can get 2 wins under his belt and kind of even out the equilibrium of the series. So far, Tyson's seeming quite confident with his probe harassment, forcing at least one SCV to guard the building SCV, and every little helps in this matchup. Especially in terms of getting some hits on this Marine here. If he's gotten a couple of hits, he loses the probe, but he gets 3 hits on the Marine. That's not really... It helps you 2-shot the Marine with the Zealot here, but it's not really worth. It would have been much better to get 1 or 2 hits and then run away, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do that.
I think he took a little too much damage with the SCV early on. Now this Marine actually going to walk right up to the Zealot. SCV spots that. He's going to back up to this very nice wall that he's constructed over by his CC, but it's not really that close to the factory. Some good micros so far, pulling things back. A little bit of a mistake there. He takes 2 hits on that Marine, pulls it back through the wall once again. As long as the Marines are still alive, it's fine. They will just be used for the bunker later on. There's the first kill. 1 Marine going down. The Zealot will fall. Ooh. Can he get an SCV? Not quite able to get that SCV. This could start to spiral, though.
Yeah. There's additional
Zealots. We do have a Vulture in a moment, but...
I mean, this is not looking too bad. I mean, if you're going to do anything to Mong, you need to do something early. He's not the strongest in the early game. We've got an SCV. That's pretty good. That's pretty good at something. Mong's not necessarily the best in the early game, but as soon as the macro gets underway, he is so strong. He usually is good at surviving the early game, but if you can put some pressure onto him, that's ideal. You don't want to let Mong just do his thing. He is one of the best players at macroing in this matchup. It's insane the amount of units, buildings, and just how much of the map he can take. It's really wild. It's like watching I Love Uve from back in the day. It's almost like he's cheating and he somehow can just build more stuff.
He's a much different player than someone like Sharp, who's just going to look for opportunities to always get in there with the Vulture play. He's way more confident sitting back and just macroing like a god and taking you out with a fully maxed army later on. Taking more than half the map and just holding it down. That can be a really scary situation for a lot of Terran players, but he is not afraid of that type of game at all. And now he's going to be pushing forward with quite a few Marines. This is kind of a ridiculous number of Marines, actually.
Yeah. This is a very
You're going to see a Vulture. Oh, does he have mines? Not quite yet. I didn't even see that researching, so I think he's building a tank behind this, and he's going to try to push up with just a bunch of Marines in one tank.
It's like a variation on strong FD. Like, he's not even waiting for the tank. He's gone really hard with the Marines and Vulture, and the tank is playing catch-up. So it's like a variation on strong FD, and looks like Tyson's doing a good job thus far of, like, threading the needle and dealing with only 3 Dragoons, one of them softened up. There is a chance here for Mong to come in and do a lot of damage. Look at that beautiful body block of the SCV. Catches one of the Dragoons. He has got an AI pylon to help out with this. One additional Zealot coming out of the gateway, but this might not be enough with the Vultures gunning that down. But Dragoons taking the high ground on the ridge, but they will not be able to hold it. Mines being laid in the wake of this assault. Probes coming off the line. Might be able to get a good drill. Tries to get some target firing on one of those mines at least. That's pretty good hold from Tyson. It has to be said. This is a beautiful hold thus far. Needs to be careful. This mine! Like 3 or 4 probes just went down there, Sam.
Oh, getting a little bit too close and personal with those units. Gets right up next to a mine, and now Mong is in the mineral line, and 1 Dragoon popping out is not going to be enough. 2 mines next to that gateway will certainly kill that off, and he has to tap out. Absolute insanity there at the end.
Yeah.
With the probes being pulled right into that mine. I mean, that is one way to do it. We were just talking about how he loves to play late game, but Mong brings it to him immediately.
I mean, he's so good in this matchup. He understands this matchup so well that if there's like a tiny window you give to him, it will just be like, yeah, okay, I'll kill you. It's like, he's so good. He doesn't necessarily take any risks, but he knows how to play catch-up. He knows how to punish your mistakes. This guy is just amazing in this matchup. If only his TVZ was better, his guy would be crazy scary.
Oh yeah, if his TVZ was as strong as his TVP and his TVT, we would be talking about Mong in a completely different light. But in this reality, Mong is a perfect sniper for a KCM squad or a Pro League squad. And that's kind of his role. Let's see if he can do something against either Action or Queen in this follow-up game. Or are we just going to see exactly why he's not an ASL champion?
특이한 거죠. 이게 윤찬희 선수 입장에서는 사실 이게 종체 지금 약간 오랜만에 되게 선보이는 자리거든요.
Setting out Action rather than Queen. We're here on Radeon. How do you think that Mong will approach this? Do you think he's going to go for mech, or what is he going to try?
Something like that, like 1-1-1 or mech or something. He has to do something here because he's worried about Crazy Zerg and it's Action. Action's really good at Crazy Zerg, so he needs to respect that. Needs to think of some ideas. Okay, maybe a mech transition. We could be seeing like 2, 3, 4 racks into a mech transition. Mines being laid out onto the map. That's also a possibility. Or could see a Valkyrie rush here to try and shut down. We have seen Mong go for Valkyrie rushes a lot in the past to try and get some kind of air superiority, so he doesn't have to worry about his bio control. He's not good at his bio control. He needs to figure out a way of circumnavigating not being good at controlling Marines and medics in this matchup. If he can figure that out, he'll be okay.
Generally, that Goliath build removes the necessity of having good Marine control, but it's a little bit too predictable if that's all you end up doing. If your opponent knows that you can't control bio and that you're always going to go for the Goliath build, it's pretty hard to take any wins off of these strong Zerg players. So we'll see if Mong opts to go for a bio build regardless of the fact he's just not the best at control. Maybe he has something up his sleeve, like a specific timing or a way of playing that could maybe catch Action off guard.
Yeah. he usually does try and come up with like some cute tactics, or at the very least, like to think of ways of throwing off his opponent. And sometimes the decision making he does is very unorthodox and can be a little bit hard to figure out for the Zerg player. So sometimes it works, but sometimes it just falls flat on his face and he looks a little bit silly. So it's hard to know for sure, you know, if it's the right way for him to play or not. But he does kind of need to rely on some form of gimmick in this matchup to kind of act as a crutch to prop himself up, because usually when he does play a straight up game, it doesn't go well.
I was just thinking if we could somehow Frankenstein the TVZ of speed onto the TVP and TVT of Mong, we would have one of the strongest Terran players of all time. But I don't think that Mong is really capable of putting on the pressure to a Zerg player like someone.
No.
The quality of speed, and he's not really switching things up very much. He's not really adapting, I feel, to those challenges. He's more so moving in the direction of just a normal one racks fast expand and out here pressuring with early Marines, which is completely standard in the way that Action would expect any Terran player to go about this matchup. He's got 4 or 5. It can do a lot of damage, but I doubt that it will with the way, you know, Action responds. In general, he's very good at dealing with these type of plays from much stronger opponents.
Yeah, Action's also very familiar with Mong's style, and he knows Mong's loves to do these like early naked Marine pressure plays to try and find any advantage in this matchup. And there is one window usually where you can exploit the Zerg, only having like say 2 or so Zerglings in the early game. You can get in there and get some drone kills, and can be a way of, you know, not having to need the best unit micro later on. But sometimes, you know, you kind of just can't do any damage, and it is what it is. But as long as he doesn't, like, you know, lose Marines for free or like make any mistakes here, it's totally fine. We see the fast 2.5 hatchery play with this SUV getting into the main base. Honestly, it's not looking too bad on paper for Mong, but this is the problem, is like all the time it looks okay on paper for Mong, and then his unit control just isn't existent enough to stay in the game. And even if he's got the right goods on paper, he just doesn't hold and he dies. And it's really sad to see.
One thing we can say for Mong is that he's managed to keep a vision of his base to a minimum. Action really hasn't gotten in there and seen much of anything. He doesn't have an overlord over the natural. It's actually way on the other side of the map, still kind of hovering over the center right, and he hasn't seen anything beyond the front barracks and supply depot. So he is 100% in the dark, aside from how many Marines have been produced, and that's actually a pretty big tell. It should be no, he should know at least that it's some sort of bio build. While 4 racks Marine is going to come out of Mong. No third base just yet for Action, by the way. He's going to be pumping out quite a bit of units and putting on some pressure before looking to expand a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think Action knows that Mong's a little bit weak in his unit control here, and he needs to apply pressure and kind of get like an easy compensation for some of his early aggression here. And Action is one of the most aggressive macro players that we have in the Zerg lineup. He is just so good at the late game macro, but he always loves to apply the maximum possible pressure while getting there. There's only a few times he sometimes switches his gears up and plays super greedy. All other times he loves to kick in that aggression to high gear, even while he's in macro mode.
Evolution Chamber means a follow-up into Crazy Zerg.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got a very quick Carapace going to be started by Action, and Mong going to be distracted quite a bit by this early aggression. We'll see how long it takes him to figure out that this is actually coming, and the real response that he'll need is to quickly get out a factory and get into Science Facility as soon as possible so that he can keep up with these upgrades. But he's already lost quite a few SCVs, and he hasn't moved out to put on any pressure, so this is continuing to be a real thorn in his side. Oh my goodness, he's killed so many SCVs already.
Yeah, this is wild. Like, Mong, this is the problem with Mong, is that Mong understands the theory in this matchup, but his execution is not there. Like, he's being so stubborn right now, like keeping the counter attack hope alive by keeping the bio out on the map and like insisting that he wants the muters to worry about the bio ball, but I mean, like, Action's just calling his bluff at every second and just staying in that natural expansion, hitting away at those SCVs. And, you know, sometimes, Mong, you just got to bite the bullet and clear out those mutas with your bio. And unfortunately, like, he's just kind of being styled on a little bit by Action, who's just, you know, a little bit more adept in this line of thinking, and knows how to find these little wiggle rooms of darkness in the back of Mong's mind, where he can't quite make the correct decisions to deal with these interactions.
We just saw a scan. I think there was a scan a little while ago as well. I'm not sure if he saw the hive yet or not, but he throws down the factory. I think this is a pretty normal timing with the 4 racks play, but he will eventually get into those extra upgrades. Quite a few lings being made from Action, and it seems like he's planning to crush this bio ball, but that is a lot of army moving out on the map. That is so many Marines. He hasn't really seen the barracks count, and I don't think he realizes exactly how many Marines are being pumped out by Mong. He's got a lot moving forward. 2 starport behind this as well. Let's see if Action can get the surround, Soul Key S surround that kills this entire bio group, or if Mong will wipe out this army.
The extra barracks might just barely be enough that he can deal with this. He needs to keep his army together, though. The army is currently separated. Maybe he'll kill up this one ball on its own. Needs to make sure these 2 clumps are together when the armies do engage. The one thing that Mong always does wrong in these situations is he doesn't ever get his army together, and he allows one ball to be killed at a time. This is the problem. He's going to get this speed. Run. He actually gets it together. This could be huge for Mong. If he can somehow keep his big blob together, he might be able to fight back the mutiling, and he'll actually be okay. And he'll be able to have enough forces to put on a big counter-attack here, while Action is in the biggest transitional point of weakness, trying to get these Ultralisks online. And it's going to be very difficult to sunk up the top left, so at the very least, maybe if he can find that expansion, he'll be able to take that out.
Wow, he has spent so much money on Mutiling, and he needs to take an engagement that makes this investment worthwhile, so that he can in turn drone up and get all these units, or get all these drones up to top left. This is a big engagement coming from multiple angles. Action over top the impassable terrain is going to poke away at these mutas, but he's losing quite a few of them, and he wasn't able to fully engage with those lings. Lots of lings fell. A few mutas went down as well, and this bio ball stands strong in this middle area. It's looking pretty good for Mong. I hesitate to say it, but maybe he can do this.
I mean, yeah, on paper, it will always look pretty good for Mong, simply because he has good macro. That's the thing. It's just the execution. It's so difficult to control lots of Marines and medics, especially when you've got more than 2 control groups of them. It gets a little bit crazy. It's like you're suddenly starting to play piano, and your fingers need to be so precise, and you just can't do it. And sometimes the medics bug out, or you overstim too much. You accidentally stim the control group twice or whatever. So many things can go wrong so quickly, especially if they're out of position. That's the main way that Mong usually dies, is his army's out of position slightly. Needs to be careful. Action trying to cut off some reinforcements, maybe coming with counterattacks. He's trying to now make his way into the northwestern quadrant of the map with this bioforce. Action sharking around, seeing if he can find any points where he's not paying attention, so he can just dive in there. But so far, Mong doing a pretty good job of keeping his army together, making his way downtown while the Nidus canals are being set up.
Ultras are out already, but they don't have the upgrades necessary to fully engage with this Bioforce just yet. He's still got to buy a little bit more time. Action just going to hold back for now. Wait for the move from Mong. When will he go towards top left? Will he go towards the natural instead? This is the biggest choice of this game. Where is Mong going with this army?
This is a great build choice from Mong. He's basically doing a crazy Zerg killer build where he just wants to do a 12-minute kill move and just try and take you out before your upgrades fully come online. Coming into the main base with these Mutalisks, trying to be oh, this is super annoying. He may even have to lift his command center to deal with this if the Mutalisks come down in his bottom right pocket. He needs a radiate. Yes, 2 beautiful radiates will help deal with this clump, but now the Marines coming up in the top left. There's a lot of ultras up here, actually. This will be difficult to attack at his pocket. He's target firing firing one of these beautiful medic block as well with just singular medic on the high ground might be enough to deny the surface area on the ramp especially. But yeah, with these beautifully placed Sunkens and the Nidus Canal set up, he needs to be careful in how he's going to deal with this. And now the vessels are being cut off. Mong is like losing steam. He needs to do some critical damage now. He's losing his attack window to kill Action. Action realizes all he has to do is stabilize. He's going to be fine going into late game here. He's going to completely outscale Mong.
The double upgrades pumping away. I saw 2 eBays in Mong's base as well, but we haven't seen the 2-2 kick in just yet, and he missed that timing. He wasn't able to punish, and now Action has the Nidus is up. He's got plenty of Sunkens. It's pretty rare to see a sunken wall on high ground like that. We see in the top left-hand corner, but he's managed to make it work. I mean, like, look at how many Sunkens there are. They're slowly creeping over towards that low ground. Where's the next base going to go up for Action? Because that's going to be probably the next point of contention.
Yeah.
Action actually taking a base down in bottom left. Look at this sneak base.
Yeah. You like to see it. This is such a good base to take. One of the least scouted bases in this game state. So yeah, these are the kind of bases you want to take as Action. Just squeeze out as much gas as you can. Like, we don't care about minerals now. We just need a little bit of gas. We get this 4th gas online, it's over. There is not enough vessels for Mong in this game to stay online for much longer. He's desperately trying to bust and get a win right here, right now with his 2-1 upgrade timings at 13 minutes. This is the way to kill Crazy Zerg, but he might not be able to do it. He might not be able to make use of this attack timing. I mean, Action's doing such a good job of being distracting right now. Killed so many of the science vessels, and now he's just parked his ultras out on the map, so no reinforcements can come up in here easily. And he can also do a pincer surround on this army if it does get out of position. So he needs to be careful how he's moving this army around on the map. If it's not in one big blob, he's in trouble.
Oh boy, Scourge not able to get any connections. 1 free irradiate there for Mong. This reinforcement train is gonna get taken down, but Mong has an opportunity to maybe go up to top left with the ultras in the middle of the map. Maybe he can break up this ramp. More sunken colonies on that high ground. Action's taking this threat very seriously. He has so many Sunkens in his natural as well, but what is the better location to bust? It's really hard to tell right now.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how much Action's respecting the situation. He knows Mong is good at macro. Just because he's not good at micro necessarily, he's still got a lot of units that can just attack move with stim and do a lot of DPS. 2-2 upgrades. It'll be a while for that +3 to kick in, though. Maybe Action's just waiting for his upgrade advantage window. Soon as his +5 armor kicks in, he may just go and surround the bio, since he knows he'll have an upgrade advantage, and he's just waiting for that time.
Managed to catch that one Marine that was moving in the direction of his fresh 4th base. He's scanning everywhere. I just saw him send, I think, an SCV from the bottom left over towards that base. May end up scouting it. No, that's a Marine, and it's going to get caught by these ultras. Action continuing to hide this. That is quite funny. I think we may see a scan over in that area up here pretty soon. Because that's getting a little bit suspicious at this point, but maybe not. Mong moving towards the natural. He's got a massive amount of bio.
Yeah.
And I think he's just about ready to take an engagement, but +4 armor is already done.
He's doing a great job of moving all this bio around in one big ball as well. It's so difficult to have this many control groups of units at once. Finally get some good surrounds, utilizing this little tiny bit of terrain here. Beautiful D-Matrix as well on this Western Marine. Some irradiates coming out, and this little piece of pillar in the terrain might just be a saving grace. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think he's target firing down these ultras well enough. The split fire is just too much. There's just far too many cows, and he's going to be completely gobbling up all of this field of grass of Marines. Oh, this is brutal to watch. I mean, it's a valiant effort from Mong, to be honest, but it was only inevitable. The longer the game went on, it was, yeah, but he waited for +5 armor to kick in, then just went for the gobble up, like I thought.
Yeah, we don't have +3 attack yet for Mong, and I think he identified the strategy from Action a little bit too late. I mean, we were worried about this from the very beginning, right? We talked about Bio being a bit stronger against Crazy Zerg, and how he might want to go for that strategy, but now a 4th gas is online, and Mong is just sitting here still on 2 bases, getting his rally point gobbled up. These ultras are just going to clear all the medics as well. A few last irradiates go down, but GG is called. Action. Very nice standard Crazy Zerg play.
Yeah.
Kind of just manhandling Mong a bit in that game. He did way too much damage with the Mutas, by the way.
No, you did way too much damage, saying like I'm super impressed by like how clean that was from Action. Like there was no greed there in any sense of the word, just exactly what he needed to do the job and no more. Like really good read on the situation and knows how to deal with Mong perfectly. Mong did his best to, like, you know, have a few gimmicks to rely on, but Action just read him too perfectly and knew just how to dismantle him in that game.
KCM 종족
All right.
But yeah, like the okay.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, like the 2-1 timing that Mong was trying to do is really strong against Crazy Zerg, though. It's like one of the best known counters to that build, where you just like try and build as much bio as possible and hit at 2-1 at around like 12-13 minutes and just hope for the best.
Yeah, just hopefully right before Carapace and chitinous plating comes online.
Yeah, they got ultras
really nice
popping
timing.
out, but they've got no armor yet. So it's like, hopefully you can still bust through the Sunkens and target down the ultras and still be okay.
Mm-hmm.
3주차 4경기 출발했습니다. 자, 오늘은 목요일은 종체, 월요일은 T종체.
Okay, Action. Taking down Mong like a Terminator in that last game. All about efficiency in the way he was playing. Like you said, not getting too greedy. Just handling his business. Now going up against Bisu. Gonna have to get a little bit more creative if he wants to take down the innovator of Protoss, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, this guy really is like the OG of this matchup. It's kind of crazy the amount he has contributed to Starcraft in this matchup alone. Without him, I don't know what Starcraft would look like today. I'm sure we'd have some kind of similarity in our modern style, but it would look a lot different. There would be a lot of variations that wouldn't quite line up in the same way. This guy was basically the first to start taking natural expansions early on as Protoss rather than going for one base tech. So what he's doing now with like putting this pile on the natural expansion, this would usually be a forge back in the day. No one ever made a gateway unless it was double gateway. So yeah, he was the guy that like made this style a thing for Protoss in general, and it was just like crazy, like completely changed the whole game forever. And what a world it would have been without him. So thankfully that we had this guy to show us the way.
Absolutely, and it's a beautiful picture that Bisu paints when he plays Broodwar. Very unlike what we saw from Action in that last game. Much more of like a conveyor belt strategy, like a factory line. The way that he just hit his upgrades and built his sunken colonies and pumped out a bunch of ultras and waited for his upgrades and ended that game with Mong. He's gonna have to get a little bit more creative here and adapt to what Bisu wants to pull out, because you know that Bisu's going to take the initiative with that early gateway, try to put on some pressure and look to see how Action reacts and how he can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, usually we see Action quite adept in his early game defense in ZVP. Usually he's on point when he's playing his A game. He doesn't really look like he's got any holes to exploit in the early game. He's usually on top of things, but there are 1 or 2 games we see him get a little bit sloppy or a little bit cocky, and suddenly he's like punished by some kind of crazy cannon rush or something. Who knows? Usually doesn't happen to him. But look at his body blocking with the drones. Like, he's buying so many extra precious seconds here. This might be enough to circumnavigate any damage from the Zealot.
This is excellent play from Action. You don't usually see 2 drones get pulled off the line to slow down the Zealot. Usually it's more common to see just the one drone trying to slow things down with some stop position micro. The probe over here at the third base is actually going to slow down this hatchery by quite a lot. Pretty annoying for Action, honestly.
Yeah.
Been blocked for quite some time. Bisu will finally allow that to go down, but Action, a bit annoyed. He's going to put out a lot of links and try to put the pressure back onto Bisu now.
Well, with the early probe scout, I'm sure he's well aware that he needs to worry about Zealots, and also has the potential to put on a bit of pressure to Bisu while he's getting this forge online. We can see this forge going down in the main base, so the core will be part of the wall. This means that it'll be much harder for Action to punish the wall later on, and Bisu doesn't have to worry about losing that forge and upgrade timing if there was a punish, like a 973 trying to kill this wall later, or the Ling bust trying to break down the wall right here, right now. He does like to go for mass Ling sometimes.
This is going to be a mass Ling play. I think we've got speed on the way. So many Lings have been made. There's nothing mining at the natural. He's preventing the probe from running by and sending one Ling into the main just to scout and see what's going on and kind of draw the attention away for Bisu as well. But there's a bunch of Lings hiding over at the center right. As soon as these Zealots start to move out, I think we're going to see the Lings over on the right-hand side run by and start to create a lot of chaos.
Yeah, I think you're right, saying. Ooh. I mean, this could be just the thing that Bisu needs to do to avoid disaster. Well, look at the Lings circumnavigating the Zealots running. There's one Zealot protecting this hole in this wall as the cannon's coming online. This could be disaster on both sides. Two Zealots finally popping out. Look at it. Oh, he doesn't quite get the block on the left side. Beautiful block on the right, though. And now only some of the Lings get into the main base. The probe screening the Lings as well. So most of those Lings don't get into the base, but 5 total do. As long as he doesn't necessarily take too much damage back at home, Action will be fine. But the probe's going to get a scout in, see exactly how many probes and Lings are being made, as the drones and Lings are being made. Gets a block in the main base. We doesn't know the tech transition, but he might be able to kill this hatchery. Finally, Lings coming to clear that up, so hopefully he can stop the denial on that hatchery. It would be huge if he can stop this hatchery dying.
Ooh, that hatchery was getting really low. He was waiting for a long time before sending in those Lings. Not sure exactly what he was waiting for there, but now Ling speed is done. Maybe that's why he was holding off. He wanted to try and get the surround on these Zealots. He wasn't able to do that because he had to pull the trigger a little bit too early. Would have actually lost the hatchery if he waited any longer.
I think you might be right saying there's a lot of time you're utilizing your hatchery HP as a resource and just allowing it to get down to like 1, 2, 300, and then you pull the trigger on whatever your plan is, like buying time to pull more Lings or whatever it is. Has got the speed in the main base to be a little bit annoying and scout and see what's what, but with this cannon, and obviously he's not going to really achieve much with that. The main ticket is going to be, can he build enough drones to navigate into this mid game without taking any kind of damage from the Zealot counterattacks that will come out of Bisu soon. He will be trying to get something done with these Zealots. Ooh, tries to get some sneaky positioning with these Lings, doing a pretty good trade. But look at Bisu's micro with these Zealots. It's pretty top level stuff and getting almost maximum value at trading out these Lings. It's a little bit annoying for Action. He needs to be careful that he doesn't lose the fight and then lose drones.
Yeah, it's pretty close to losing some drones here. One Ling remains. The drones are going to come out to fight. He's going to pull back, keep that one drone alive. He's managed to to beat these drones, or to beat these Zealots without revealing the fact he's been building Hydras behind this. He keeps all the drones alive. That's big.
Nice.
He's going for a lot of Hydras and pushing the wall now. It's going to be kind of scary. Bisu going for some Overlord kills is going to be frightening as well. As soon as he sees the number of drones, though, I think he knows that Hydras are coming. He's got to start building cannons now. This is going to be close.
I mean, he only has 2 online right now. There is enough Hydras here to put a lot of pressure on. You need a 3rd cannon online to be able to hold something like this. He has got a lot of Zealots to screen, though, so he might be able to... He dives onto the gateway with manual move command, guns down the 1st cannon, targets the 2nd. They're both going to fall out in short order. He left a few of the Hydras behind while the rest pulled out to sacrifice 3 Hydras to guarantee the 2nd cannon dying while the 3rd comes online. Now using the speed upgrade to try and get the better trade of these Zealots. So far, though, Bisu doing a pretty good job with manual move commands on these Zealots to stay in range of those Hydras before they can micro back. Pretty good job of screening the Hydras, buying valuable time here. Action's currently supply blocked after losing the Overlord to the Corsairs as well, so we can't critically macro right now.
Yeah, there's too many cannons warping in. I think he will hold. Bisu has done just enough damage to those Hydras. He's bought just barely enough time with the Zealots and Corsairs that now we're going to have to switch into a macro game. Action is going to have a hard time transitioning when he can't even kill the Forge in the front. This is looking really good for Bisu. The upgrades are going to finish up. Action will get the gateway. He might get the core, but He's going to have a very hard time transitioning. His upgrades are going to be insanely late.
Yeah, I mean, there's only even like a small angle he can even kill that core from the top left. It's not an easy thing to target that, especially from the vertical axis. It's either from the left here, you can target with like a few hydras on the top left, but it's a bit awkward. If you don't like target the pixel perfectly when you move the hydra down, it will get targeted by the cannon. So you have to be a little bit careful trying to target that down.
A lot of players will say, or a lot of viewers, I'm not sure if they actually play StarCraft or not, they will say that Hydra Bust is completely broken because it doesn't require anything from the Zerg player. The Zerg player can easily transition out without sacrificing anything. The big sacrifice here, guys, is that he doesn't have any upgrades coming in. The way that you kind of get around that is by killing off the forge of your opponent and slowing down their upgrades in return. But in this case, his upgrades are going to be slow, and Bisu is going to be light years ahead with that upgrade timing. DT coming in now as he tries to kill this Overlord. If he can get the Overlord kill, this is going to be huge. Can he get this Overlord? It's so... Oh, he does get it. Both the Corsairs go down. And two drones will fall. I mean, it's not the best.
If he doesn't lose the drones, it's not too bad because he killed 2 Corsairs there. Honestly, like, as long as he just doesn't lose drones, we might be okay here. And he comes back to the brief or pretty good hold on the sec. Oh, but he needs to not lose the hatchery. Please tell me he's making an Overlord over there and he's going to be able to save this. Oh, use a lava trick. Use anything to stop that DT killing your hatchery. Please, action. This is not looking ideal. Oh, he's going to lose the hatchery.
Oh, my
God. Oh, he loses it. That's absolutely insane.
5 HP on that DT, by the way. Just barely managed to kill that off. A few drones go down in the main base. Now things are out of control. Action is struggling so hard. We've all been in this situation as Zerg players. It's pretty much lost, and Action is going to tap out. GG. Great game there by Bisu.
Super, super strong game there from Bisu. This is what I'm super excited. Let's get right into it. It's going to be either light or royal coming up next. God damn. I was like just praying that he would like somehow like build an egg on top of the DT or something, anything to buy time.
Just a second, I'll be right back. I gotta pee.
Yeah, good games today, Dustin. You ain't wrong. My voice is already strained. I've been so excited. But even though Mong lost the TVZ, he honestly looked pretty good in that TVZ as well. Like, he got dismantled, but he went for the best possible scenario. Like, he just didn't quite get there. I was happy with his performance still. Didn't just completely get demolished in the bio control move out stage. Like, usually you just see him completely get obliterated and pulled apart by the Mutaling. And that didn't happen this time. He actually managed to like build up a big blob and go for it. So it was nice to see him actually, you know, kind of execute his build order properly. Oh, you mean on Radeon, Mong versus Tyson? The strong FD push?
Okay. All right.
약간 그 에피타이저 느낌 빠르게 10분, 6분, 16분, 10분 이렇게 해서 흘러가고 있는 오늘의 종최 3주차입니다. 그리고 자막이 하나 나올 거예요. 좀 있으면요. 무엇을 의미하느냐? 이 두 선수. 자. 최근 한 달.
Bisu versus Royal now. And the all-kill prize is out of the question. Nobody can achieve that with action falling. One player's been eliminated from each squad, and that $1,700,000 won dollar. I wish it was dollars, but 1,700,000 won prize will continue to grow week over week.
Yeah,
I think there's a sponsor prize there as well, some sort of gift in addition to that 1,700,000 won. But it's starting to look pretty juicy. That started out what, 200,000?
Right. Yeah, it's looking really fat right now. That's a fat stack of cash right there. These players are going to be playing hungrier and hungrier as the weeks tick on and as this rollover price increases.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it's going to continue to grow, and I'm really curious to see who's actually going to claim that now that it's been eliminated as a possibility this week.
Yeah.
I think there might be some players who will be clamoring for it, like Solkey. He needs money, right? He might want to come in. He might want to come in next week in KCM and go out first. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Looking at the game, though, we got a very forward gate from Bisu here on Dominator, and trying to take advantage of these 3-player maps and low main base situations. See if he can put on the pressure early to Royal. Maybe it'll be favorable to him. It could go nicely, actually. Royal went for a 12 gas here, so I mean, his Vulture's going to be a little bit slow, and if you get a good Zealot Goon timing going, maybe he could put on the pressure.
It's gonna have that Zealot coming out in just a moment. Royal setting up his wall. That looks pretty maneuverable from this position. It's gonna be difficult to get a Zealot in there and deal any damage. Factory well placed in addition, so I doubt this does much damage, but Beast is gonna try and get in here anyway. I think he might have gotten one hit on that.
Right.
Marine, but
with the Zealot
he needs another one.
Yeah, but
there we go.
There we go.
Okay.
But with the Zealot coming in like 5-6 seconds quicker from the natural expansion like this, I have a feeling he might just barely get in here before the third Marine comes out, and then we'll put on some significant pressure onto Royal. He might still be able to be fine, but I don't know. Maybe there's just a window here where Bisu can slightly put on the pressure with the probe help.
Just going to be driven away. Third Marine pops out, and he will head back to this high ground. It is, for the map, a pretty decent position to be in. So instead of on other maps, you would be on regular ground. Here we're on high ground. It's a little bit harder to push up this ramp with just Marines. And so just holding at the top of the ramp with 3 Zealots is going to be rough for Royal. Factory on the map. Oh,
it's going to float into the main base. It's going to float into the main base and do so much damage potentially. This is going to be insane. Although it depends. Like right now, Bisu's good damage is working against him because now he's hiding the fact that he doesn't even want to expand. He's got the second factory, so this is working in Bisu Royal's favor perfectly because Bisu thinks he's doing a good job of slowing down the natural expansion right now. But the reality is there was a second factory made behind this. So yeah, if Bisu can't figure this out, it's going to be wild. He sees the bunker at the front go down, but he doesn't see the CC yet. This Dragoon needs to confirm that there's no CC here, so he knows that this is shenanigans.
You can't really tell just yet. I mean, there's been a lot of units made so far,
it's hard
and
to tell.
There's quite a bit of craziness going on. That SCV is going to be pulled back now. If he needs to actually go forward and check. Oh my god, a Dragoon heading around the side. He sees the SCV, but he doesn't see the... Did he see the factory?
I don't know.
I don't think he saw it.
I don't think he saw it. Do you think he saw us? No. Dan's the factory in the main base, starting to build the vultures now. I don't think he saw it. This is crazy. I don't think he saw it. Oh my god. Saying. He didn't see it.
He didn't see it.
He's gonna lose. That's
crazy. That was just a pixel away. If Royal had lifted off his factory a second later, just a couple of milliseconds later, he would have been spotted there. Vulture coming in, gonna start to lay mines inside the base. This is so frustrating for Bisu. He's gonna try and surround with the probes. He sees the factory now. but the Dragoons are being pushed back. There's a simultaneous Marine tank push at the front. This is a 2-factory play from Bisu. There's no from Royal. There's no follow-up here, but so many probes are going to fall. Oh my goodness. Everything falls apart. And there it is. Royal takes him out.
GG. What can you say about that game, saying? Insane stuff. It fell apart so quickly for Bisu. Whew, it's going to be Royal versus Queen coming up next.
빌드 선택할 때 근데 이거는 비호감이라는 거는 사실 이게 선수 4승
Damn, man, that's that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, like, just the 1 or 2 seconds difference, and he sees the factory? Like, fucking hell.
Not even
Not
1 second.
Not even
like
that. Yeah, like milliseconds. Yeah.
milliseconds. Yes.
Starcraft is a crazy
glad-
game.
I'm glad we caught. All right,
But
he kind of caught it on
In all
the.
honesty, though,
what's
hang on a
called-
minute. But in all honesty, that's Bisu's bad star sense. He should have sussed. Hang on a minute. I slowed down your.
Why is that
expansion.
SCV there?
Yeah, I slowed down your expansion enough that during that time, the SCV down there could have built a factory. There was enough time. So he should have star sensed that out and been like, hang on a minute, buddy, and checked at least. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
if he sends a probe to check, it makes the world of difference. But
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it is what it is.
과 어떤 빌드 짜임새였고요. 그리고 이거 김명훈 선수가 이번에 또 경기
The fates are certainly smiling on Royal today. That was insanely close.
선수도 딱히
Whew.
Just milliseconds stood between
선수가 승리하게 됐어요.
Bisu spotting that factory and not.
근데 그 선수들이 맵을 다
Now Royal, because of his choice of build there, very smart choice
해결을 하고
to go for that factory while taking on all that pressure.
김명훈 선수
A really good way to redirect the game
Yeah.
into his favor, and he's earned himself a place in this next game with the final Zerg player, Queen, spawned down here in the bottom right. It's Terran versus Zerg on kickback again. Are we going to see another game of Crazy Zerg, Shun?
I mean, I think you might say, and I have to say, unless we see some kind of mech play from Royal to kind of force a different style of game out of Queen, Royal would probably have to do something to upset the game state enough that Queen won't want to consider going for something like that. I imagine Queen definitely does ideally want to get a Crazy Zerg going if he can get away. And look at this fast gas, 12 gas from Royal, maybe doing some kind of early mech play or 2-port Wraith. There's so many options available to you to disrupt the early game state here and force the Zerg from their original game plan.
이온닉을 했을 때 저그전에서 어떤
I think you have to do this. I really do think that it's
그래서 이 맵은 제가 메카닉이나 뭐 투
the only way to play against these top Zerg players on this map
많이 나온다고 말씀을 드렸던
is to do something with a fast gas. If you just
아닙니다.
Yeah.
wall in and go for extra hatches,
그 선수가 진짜
it's so
정말 그
easy to get into that.
레이스도 많이
Uh,
심지어는 원팩 더블
very fast carapace upgrade and straight on into ultras, and the Zerg players today have just they've locked it down. They've locked that timing down so nicely.
Right.
There's almost no way around it, and
선수는 뭔가 좀 정석
we're gonna have the scout come in, see the barracks, no marines being built.
면으로 좀 세게
You should have a pretty good idea of what's happening. Even mine's a little bit off of that
다른
mineral patch there, potentially opening that up a little bit later. We'll see if he wants to try and abuse that.
Yeah, Queen being a little bit of a pickpocket and taking a fraction of Royal's lunch money, but it's not gonna, be too much of a thorn in Royal's side. It's just a little bit of a moral victory for Queen here, trying to pretend that he's the bully. Royal going to be going for a pretty fast command center after taking this early factory build, but I'm curious what the follow-up is going to be. We've been still mining on gas. Is this going to be a Wraith play here? I mean, Wraiths are very good on this map.
다운 본 적 거의 없는 것 같은데. 네. 나 보죠. 자, 스타포트
He does have what 1, 2.
아직 더 봐야 돼요.
Okay,
It might be
starport.
1-1-1. If he's got three, got three.
There's 3 on there.
Ooh, okay.
This might be 2 starport.
Okay. Could see the two toss. Yeah, could do 2 starport here. Still possible.
Not building a vulture. He's saving up money. Here comes the second starport. All right, let's go.
All right. Hopefully,
Royal,
go on.
he's not that well known for being a 2-star port player, right? Like, how often have we seen Royal play double starport?
Not very often. I mean, it's usually like someone like Light's cup of tea, you know, in terms of like their expertise. Royal's not really a Wraith guy. You usually see someone like Speed or Light go for these styles, or later, you know, it's not really Royal's expertise for sure.
This is something I would be much more expecting from a player like Mong, right? Mong is someone who wants to go for those tricky, Wraith play or Goliath play or something like that. But let's give Royal the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's been practicing his Wraith play a bit. Maybe he's gonna come out strong here and show some excellent micro.
I mean, Wraiths are just so good on this map, so I'm hoping for this. I'm hoping this will pan out for him. At the very least, he'll get 1 or 2 overlords, and he'll put on the pressure. And he's not committing to it. It's not like it's like an all-in one base 2-port Wraith. This is a very economic 2-port Wraith after expanding. So, there's a lot of hope for Royal going forward. But applying a lot of pressure while growing is a great way of playing StarCraft in general, and especially Terran.
Yeah, let's see where he wants to go with this build. Is he going to go like full Sky Terran and build a bunch of Valkyries after spotting this Spire?
Yeah.
Going to get a second Overlord. We'll have to bail out immediately. Oh, he didn't stay for the one last hit. And the Scourge are going to pop out on his way back. He might end up getting caught. This has gone a little bit sideways. Ooh, oh my goodness.
There we go. Breaks the ankles of those Scourge finally. You can't watch those Scourge forever. Queen eventually has to go back to macro, sorry. This looks ideal for Royal if he can stabilize. This won't be too bad. But Queen is just pretty good in the air with his muteless control and what have you. So this still could be a little bit problematic for Royal. He needs to have really crisp Wraith control. You do have larger range with the Gemini missiles on those Wraiths, but it's very difficult to exploit unless you got perfect move command. Because you can spin on the dime using manual move command. It's a little bit faster turning around that way, but it's not easy to execute frame perfectly like that when you're turning around shooting tiny little units like Scourge. Finally gets the cloak finish though. Not able to get the chase. There is an overloaded position at 3 o'clock to kind of act as a bit of a point defense, slowly pushing in vision range to this natural expansion. We'll be able to launch an assault soon once this overlord creeps up here.
I really have to talk about this. We've got Royal completely relying on cloak. He built the eBay so late. He was hoping that the Midas would come in and that he would be able to cloak and deal a bunch of damage, but he was being very, very patient, waiting for that Overlord to come. He goes in and kills the Overlord just barely. One of these Wraiths does uncloak, though, so he can't just fight this straight up. There's only a couple of Wraiths remaining, and the turret is going to finish just barely, but Queen, I think he's going to be able to push through here. One turret does finish. A few cloaked Wraiths remain. This was crazy risky by Royal, not building that eBay until the very last second.
But Royal was like trying to map this out and be like, okay, like I just barely will get these turrets online, maybe, and be safe with the cloak only. But Queen was like slugging this Overlord over and just barely got in there in time just before those turrets could finish up. And yeah, it was like a very, very narrow window of like 20 seconds for Queen to come in there and exploit, and did a pretty good job of shaving down the Wraith count. Now there will not be a critical mass of Wraiths for Queen to worry about, at least for the time being. He's now starting to kill a few Overlords, but it's not the hugest big deal now. Like, Queen is looking pretty good in this. Like, the supplies look really healthy for Queen.
There needs to be a lot of turrets at each base, and Valkyries need to pop out here soon. Queen can also dive on top of those with some Scourge as well. It's going to dive into the main now, going after the missile turrets. There's a lot of Overlords here to help out with this attack. He cannot drive this back with pure Wraiths alone. There's the Valkyrie. It's going to get hit by one Scourge. The second Scourge not quite able to hit. There's another Valkyrie coming out as well. It's done a lot of damage, and a third Valkyrie will pop out. to follow this up. He pushes back the Overlords. He's surviving this initial aggression, and I don't think that Queen is growing too much. He's spending a lot of money on Overlords and Mutas to try and push the issue here.
Yeah, I think Queen was relying on killing more Valkyries. I mean, this could get out of control very quickly. If Royal manages to get up to like 5, 6 Valkyries, oh, this is going to get crazy. This is going to get seriously crazy. Like, I mean, Royal might have done it. He might have already, like, survived long enough that he'll get a critical mass of Valkyries out. We got the 4 out. Oh, this could get crazy. Oh, saying... He's not getting the upgrade, but he might have done it. He might have gotten enough air superiority that he can start to explode in economic power in the mid-game now.
Oh, wait a second. He didn't really build that many turrets. Royal. You're not going to be able to hold that third. That's for sure. Queen was not slowing down with the Mutalist production, and I only saw like 1 turret in the main. There's no turrets. Wait a second. There's none.
He cancelled his turrets. He was building them and he cancelled them. Why did you? He keeps building and cancelling his. This is crazy. Speechless stuff. He has still got 3 Valkyries. One of them's dangerously low, but Queen's trying to play cautiously. Waits for Scourge to arrive. Now goes for the dive. Does manage to get at least one of these Valkyries. Can't quite catch the other low HP 2. Royal finally building some bloody turrets. It's been so long, but this is madness from Royal. I can't believe how much he's skimped out. He's played so greedily in this game.
Yeah, he's playing super greedy, and he's not being careful with these Valkyries. Either he's going to lose another one. Oh my, 2 Valkyries go down there. That's so brutal.
Wow.
This is falling apart completely now. Royal is never going to get that critical mass of Valkyries he needs so desperately.
Yeah. I'm a bit annoyed, honestly. I thought for a second there Royal was going to get control over this game, especially once he got 4 Valkyries out. But no, like, this is super greedy from him not to establish himself. Now he's going to pay the price. Can't even protect these Valkyries. They're going to get shocked and pushed out from the main base while the Mutas go to town on those last remaining turrets. Finally trying to repair some of his turrets that he has got with a SCV surround. Finally manages to keep one of his turrets alive while the Valkyries try and do some point defense. This is not looking ideal for our Terran players. So many SCVs are biting the dust in the wake of that. Scourge also picking up another Valkyrie kill. Tries to get another, but connections from the Valkyrie micro were good enough that time. Royal's pretty good with his Valkyrie micro as well, usually. So I was hoping to see a better showing from him in this game state, but he so far has been a little bit disappointing from Royal, although maybe that's just due to Queen being so aggressive and so on top of things with these Scourge pickups.
I really feel like Royal just didn't respect it enough. He thought that he was going to be able to take a third. He thought he was going to be completely defended with just 3 or 4 Valkyries to hold on against everything. He stopped building turrets. He stopped controlling those Valkyries properly, and Queen just gets right in there. He kills all of those Valkyries. He completely throws the game on its head. Now we've got 5 Valkyries moving out on the map, but Queen's already got Hydras. He's already got defense on the ground. There are tanks back at home, so Royal won't die for a while, and he's going to get his third base online, but this is a shaky position, to say the least.
I mean, there's one game state where if he can hang on to the mid game, get this third online, and just stop Queen from expanding, Queen will actually mine out pretty quick relative to him because his third base took so long to get online. So maybe it's not a terrible game state if he can just stop Queen from expanding, but that's going to be a tall order for him. He has got a little bit of air superiority, but now we see the transition of the Zerg coming into full effect during the mid game, and Hydralisk coming out in to pressure the front. Luckily, though, like the same was saying, has a lot of these tanks back here, so won't necessarily die to these attacks from Queen, and that might be his through line to this late game victory scenario where he just needs to hold on. It does manage to screen the Scourge with a pretty good Valkyrie micro. Like I was saying earlier, usually his Valkyrie micro is on point. Royal's one of the better players at this Valkyrie micro. If he does actually pay attention to it, usually is pretty stellar at it. Has been super greedy. Maybe that's why he was super greedy, is that he was so confident and cocky with his Valkyries, and he just didn't think he needed as many turrets or what have you, but needs to respect Queen a little bit more. Finally, we see a lot more factories coming online, and we see the late game stage starting to look like it's going to happen. And unless Queen can do a Doom Drop in the natural.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to drop a bunch of Hydras onto this natural base. Maybe if he gets in here and just eliminates this CC immediately, We might see the game end right away. Maybe this will give an opportunity for Royal to come back. This is a huge volley, killing a lot of these mutas. I think just pulling the command center and running out of this position is probably going to be the best move. There's not a lot of minerals left here. This is not that important of a base anymore. If he just lifts off and runs, I don't really mind this too much. Yeah, go ahead and repair. Pull some more tanks up here, but losing a lot of SCVs is going to be painful.
Right, yeah, he actually might not lose the CC here. He's like snaked a couple of tanks down, being a little bit cautious, though the Hydras do try and pounce off on one of those. Maybe we'll get... He doesn't get the repair off. He almost got the repair on that enough to stop the tank going down, but does trade off one of those tanks. But honestly, it's a pretty good hold for Royal. Like we were talking about earlier, like the game state kind of favors Royal in the sense that the longer the game goes on, if he can stop the Zerg from expanding, it's not looking too dire. Queen does have this bottom left pocket coming online right now. That's just finished up. If you can get that mining, it's going to be great. If Royal, it'd be very difficult for Royal with his mech units to come out and punish this base in a cross-map scenario. So he's most likely going to attack Queen head-on on the vertical axis. So Queen is pretty confident that his base in the bottom left won't be disrupted much.
Yeah, the only way to really get in there and deal any damage to that base is with speed vultures, and that's actually a very strong and potent part of a lot of Terran mech players' game plan is getting those speed vultures out on the map. So far, Queen is just sitting out in front. He sees everything that moves because of all these lings that are burrowed. So it's unlikely that he'll end up, losing a lot to those speed vultures. Drop on this high ground is going to be pretty potent, killing off a lot of these Valkyries, in fact, and those are very important units to keep alive for as long as possible. A secondary drop coming into the natural at the same time. This two-pronged attack is pulling Royal limb from limb. He's going to lose all the Valkyries. That was a mistake. Royal just sending those in to die is really painful at this point.
I mean, they cost 275 minerals and 125 gas, and they are not cheap units by any metrics. Super expensive. They do build faster than Wraiths, super quickly, actually. They're one of the fastest building units that are in the air in the game, but they do cost so much, so you need to be careful and not lose them to little cheap Scourge and what have you. So this is not looking ideal from Royal, but he has got a big army now pushing down this vertical axis. Can Queen macro out enough mutas to stop this?
Yeah, this is what I was expecting. As soon as you see all of the Valkyries go down, the natural decision is to go directly into a mass muta switch, and he's just going to come in with these Hydras, try to take the engagement while the tanks are sieging up, kill as many of the Goliaths as possible, and then the mutas will clear out everything else. This push is going to get completely routed. A little bit of extra rallies that were coming down end up holding this position, but Royal's just going to have to fall back, maybe take a fourth base. It's going to be tough, though, to hold on to a fourth in this type of desperate situation.
I mean, can you imagine how strong Royal would have looked if all of that army was together and there were Valkyries in the air, point defensing it? Like, oh my days, he would look like he would just stomp Queen, but now he's looking a little bit silly without those Valkyries and having to wait for more and more Goliath rounds to come out.
Yeah, 4 or 5 Valkyries would have completely changed that fight. Now he's going to be losing SCVs to these mutas, and his only real option is just go across the map and try to threaten in the natural. It's the normal response as a Terran player to do an attack like this, try to force the Mutalist back, but he might be walking into his death because Queen is going to have so many rallies coming out, and there's not a lot coming from Royal's natural, and it's going to be a while before this gets reinforced. He's setting up a really nice position. It's going to be hard for Hydras to come from inside the base, but there's a flank coming as well. This flank is going to be so strong, completely surrounding this army. These tanks are going to be immediately gobbled up.
That's
hardly anything is lost here for Queen as this army just disintegrates.
Okay, I mean, that looked like something like a cutscene, you know what I mean? Like a really well-made cutscene in like a fancy UMS where you just see like an ambush and all the units get completely wiped out in like perfect trigger execution. Like, so flawless. That was amazing. amazing from Queen. So cost efficient. Now desperately trying to run away with a handful of Goliaths, but it's going to be too little too late. I mean, Queen's going to mop up most of those and put the pressure on now. The main and natural are pretty much mined out for Royal. He's just got this third base to mine, and Queen's going to be happy with his bottom left base to deal with any mine outs of his own. So Queen is just pretty much checkmated Royal at the moment. There's no real way for Royal to cover. He's just processing the loss. GG finally coming out of him, and it's going to be Queen versus Best. What can you do? It's crazy.
That final battle was cinematic.
Super cinematic.
That was very well done. My gosh, you can see that Ro's just not really. He's not really used to playing that style. I think he just got forced into that by the map.
I think so. I think if he was just a little bit less greedy, just a little bit less greedy on the turret timings and stuff, and a little bit more cautious with your Valkyrie micro, I think maybe it wouldn't be too bad.
Awesome. We've got the full suite of games today.
Yeah, I'm liking it, mate.
Yeah.
It's a good week.
Yeah, it's a good week. Nothing, super stand out, but pretty solid.
Yeah.
Solid games all around.
Yeah.
All right. Set number 7. A beautiful cinematic finish there for Queen as he cleans up Royal and sets us up for a full suite of games here today. Whoever wins this next match will be going up against Light in that final game. So, Terran is set up for at least 1 point this week. We'll see if they can take the win, or if Queen's going to continue the spree, or maybe Best will surprise us and take out both of these two. Anything can happen. We're on Minstrel here for set number 7. A controversial map. I'm not sure what the verdict is going to be when this map goes out of the circulation. Is it a Protoss favored map? Is it a Zerg favored map? Terran favored map? It's a crazy map, and it's provided us a lot of great games.
It's a crazy favored map, saying this is where madness is made us into such interesting players, because it does force you to think outside the box and really taxes you with these 5 lanes of attack, and has created very interesting games for us to both cast and play. And overall, I'm thankful for the map.
I'll be a little bit sad if they end up taking it out. I think it's one of the better 2-player maps we've had.
Yeah.
For ASL maps, and I'm really glad that it's been mixed in, and that we've really had all the ASL maps mixed into the map lineup for the ladder, so we can all test it out and play it, not just in custom games, but against randoms. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. It would be kind of weird if you couldn't play the official maps on the ladder. It would feel like you were missing out on the scene, so to speak. But look at this beautiful hatchery blocking from Best. He's really on top of it today. Queen cannot get this hatchery down, Saiyan.
Oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. It looks like he'll get the moving shot though. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Okay. At least kill the probe. You got to get that little bit of compensation. No way.
This is a beautiful example of how manual move commands are important, both as the chaser and the one that's retreating. That was a great example of why if one player manually moved commands and the other one doesn't, you would catch him. But because both of them were doing it so flawlessly, he didn't catch him.
And the cannon's going to finish up as well. Queen, he's got to be frustrated.
Oh, Best is so sneaky. Look at this guy, this handsome gorilla ape, man. This guy, he's just come back from the groomers. His fur is looking silky smooth, and he's looking dapper today.
Yeah, he's got his top hat on. His tips it to the audience as he threads the needle here. Gets this probe back up into the base. Every moment that probe lives is a slap in the face to Queen right now, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. This is like such a big moral victory early game. Like, that's really annoying for Queen.
Ooh, run by. 8 lings are at the front. This is Queen running around the long way to try and hide these lings, and there's only 1 cannon, 1 probe in the wall.
He's waiting for the Zealot.
He's going to come forward.
He's waiting for the Zealot, but he's not holding a probe at the wall while waiting for the Zealot. This is really greedy from Best. He's hoping that he's not going to get punished, but he might. And he's not actually. I don't think he's going to go for it. With the
Queen might be waiting for the Zealot to come out, and then he'll run by. What is he waiting for? There's nothing in this wall he could run by and get like 4 or 5 Zealots in there, or 4 or 5 lings in there. Oh my goodness, this is unfortunate for Queen. He's not really going to get much out of this at all.
No. I mean, there's a bit of a missed opportunity there. And he, okay. I mean, this is a crazy little opening here from Best, but does manage to kill this probe. So now can't really see what the build is going to be from Queen. We could see a little bit of aggression out of him, but it will be that normal 3 hatchery lair that he likes to go for so much into 5-6 hatch Hydra here. Could see a little bit of an Ogre Zerg if he wants to go for a fast 2nd or 3rd gas timing, but we won't be seeing that for a little bit at least.
Best getting away with murder in this game, just being so greedy, and because Queen wasn't moving forward, you can send just 1 ling up to the wall and check.
Right.
And you'll know for a fact whether there's probes there waiting or not, but he just didn't bother to do that, and those 8 lings are just going to go by the wayside. There's 4 lings to the south here that are just doing absolutely nothing. It's crazy to me, Sean, that those are sitting there and not...
There's 2 drones he could have had earlier on, right? Like, he could have been mining with those all this time. And, like, think about when he made those. So then all that time, those 2 drones could be mining at 50 minerals a piece. I mean, the hundreds of minerals that he could have had and hasn't had. And that's also hit the exponential growth potential of his economic curve. Saying that's such a big deal.
Oh yeah, that's big. And just imagine those lings inside the main base, because at least 4 of them would have gotten in with 1 cannon in the wall and nothing blocking. You could get at least 4 lings up into that main base to start dealing some devastating damage against Best. Now a Corsair going to be pushing back some Overlords, clearing those out. Hydra going to come up to push back this Corsair, but he won't be in time to save the Overlord, and things are going pretty rough here for Queen. He's going to lose another Overlord over at the top center. I mean, maybe he can do something with a bust. Maybe he can break through on Best, but the way that this game has been going, if we get to a mid game and Best is unscathed, he's going to have a hell of a push.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Protoss in general. Like, if you can't force we're pretty good surround on these Zealots. Oh, he doesn't quite get the full surround. The Zealots squeeze out. Now with the good micro, he'll be absolutely fine against these lings. Best is playing so good today. Wow. Okay, Best might just smash Queen and Light. This is looking insane. I don't understand how Best is playing so good in this matchup today, but I'm happy to see it. I love to see this guy. He's usually the comeback king. He usually plays so sloppy, and then has to do some fancy play to come back and smash the Zerg. But in this game, he's looking amazing straight out of the gate from start to finish. So look at this impressive stuff. He does finally lose one of those Zealots, but he killed so many lings there.
Killed a ton of lings, and he's still looking around for Overlords. He's going to put the pressure on while these Zealots are coming in. There's only a few Hydras to push this back. There's an opportunity to maybe dive on top of the Hydras, draw a bit of that attention, and kill another Overlord. Yeah. He's going to do that right now. Another Overlord's going to go down, and dude, Queen's already lost so much. Things have gone so bad for him. I would be feeling so frustrated. Here comes the DT as well.
Yeah,
I hope there's an Overlord.
I hope there's an Overlord finishing up in one of those 2 eggs saying, oh, he's going to be bite. Oh, yeah, Hydra is saying. He is so frustrated right now. He even has enough time to kill these eggs. I think the other egg might just barely finish. I think the other egg would just barely finish, but he could even kill one of the Overlords before it hatches. I'm not sure about the other one. I think the other one will still finish in time.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be able to get back to mining here in a moment. The DT will be pushed back, but it'll stay relevant on the map here for some time. Killed even a Hydra as it's trying to retreat. Like, oh, Overlord speed is done. That's why he's chasing this down. I was wondering why he was being so aggressive with that. You can tell he's frustrated. He wants that DT kill. He's really going after it.
Yeah, he needs some kind of like, momentum shift psychologically. He just needs like a little anything to go his way so he can be like, yes, finally, now let's kick back into firing on all cylinders and play with a bit more tenacity again. At the moment, didn't really seem like he had much glimmer of a hope in this game, but maybe he can psychologically get himself together, get a strong 6-hatch Hydra production going, and maybe slow down the Zealot Templar advance of the Protoss player. Needs to get at least 2 control groups of Hydras out on the map, pressuring and skirmishing with these Zealot Templar, but it's very difficult to do on these 5 lanes, unless you've got them like soft contained already. So I think that Bess is going to get away with being super annoying here.
Yeah, there's a pretty decent Sim City, but it's not the best in the world. They can still get the Zealots in past these eggs and on top of the Hydras pretty easily. Now some eggs pop up. Maybe he can hold off. Yeah, he's actually going to push this back pretty decently.
Yeah, pretty good.
Get some damage on those Zealots and shoves everything back. All right, Best is just going to continue to macro, get those 8 gateways out as soon as possible. He's got a lot of Templar building up, a good amount of Storm now. Queen has a Spire finishing up, though. He might go for a big Mutalisk transition. I almost guarantee that we're going to see that, actually.
Well, he has 3 gases online, so that's 900 a minute. So he could make a lot of Mutalisks here. But sorry, what were you gonna say?
I think there might be actually lurkers making. I think probably. I might have seen that.
Maybe, yeah. Well, he did have a lot of gas already. Oh, there's lurkers. Yeah, he definitely did have a lot of gas around that. And the Spire is super late, so it makes sense that he sent it somewhere. Not just in upgrades, but also getting that lurker tech as well and making some lurkers. This is looking ideal because now he can. There's a few dragoons that have been made, but maybe not enough to get through the lurkers. I don't know. There's quite a lot of round of dragoons. I think Bess might have just barely pulled the trigger on making dragoons at the right time. That he's gonna have enough to challenge Queen here. Queen may be able to sandbag this push on the bridge. I don't think it's going to go as well as he thinks it is.
Mutas are going to come out now. There's only 2 Corsairs. This is the opportunity that Queen is looking for. He's going to bring together like something around 10 Mutalisks, try to snipe all of the Templar before this engagement happens. If he can get every Templar or the majority of the Templar before this engage happens, he might be able to hold this, but it's already going on right now. The Hydras are getting stormed to death. These Mutas are coming in a little bit too late, and I think too much has been lost already. Yeah. Even if all the Templar get sniped by these Mutas, there's just not enough left on the ground to take the fight with the Zealot Dragoon army.
Yeah, I was worried about the bridge not being able to sandbag the push long enough for the Mutas to even get there in time to do their job and clear up these High Templars. And now look at this. He's finally like done something, but it's too little too late with the Mutas. And GG just completely crushes him with this down the middle, shove it down your throat approach. We see that a lot on this map in PvZ, where the best course of action is just a direct line to the enemy base all the way down the middle with a big clump of army, just lots of dragoons and Templars in a big death ball. It's so hard for Zergs to stop on this map.
All right. Queen is dead. The Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. Okay. Do we need this anymore?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I was just wondering if they were going to bring it up in Korean. Okay. Final game. Let's go.
Yeah.
Our final game of the night, set number 8, Light versus Best. Best looking so good in that last game. This should be an epic finale here on Pantheon. Such a an interesting map. So many different dynamics this map with the addition of these little tiny high grounds and those weird ramps at the natural.
Yeah, yeah. And the mineral onlys give it a unique balance. It doesn't have that same sort of like polypoid feel in terms of the ebb and flow of the game because there's no like bases towards the center of the board. But yeah, with that mineral only does also change up some of the options here for both players. But these little high ground X's at the 12, 3, 6, and 9, like units can get so clumped up on there, and either it's easy to defend or easy to bust. Like say like Sonic Storm or Plague or what have you on there is just so devastating, but can be also easy to defend in the early stages using only a few units.
We could see this game go very long with Light bunkering down into the corner, securing 3, 4, maybe even 5 bases in his little quadrant of the map.
Well,
and then Best expanding out all over the place, but typically Best is very good at getting in against Light and other Terran players.
But Light also has the option to expand towards the Protoss here. So Light, if he wanted to, could expand to 6, attack and defend at the same time on this horizontal axis here. And Best doesn't have the option, or he could still expand towards Light at this mineral only, but it's less, ideal for him. So yeah, there are some variations on this map that these players could exploit because of the geometry. Light gets the better end of that, I would say.
This is a pretty decent map for bunkering down as a Terran player, don't you think? Like, there's quite a few walls and corners to abuse, and your bases generally kind of flow around your main, which allows you to have a bit better defense of that main base. It's pretty easy to build out onto the map as well, but the middle is so wide open. It's tough to push through the middle. It's a good thing for Light that we're not cross map, because it's so tough to push cross map on this.
Oh, exactly.
Very wide open area.
Yeah, it's very difficult to even know where the Protoss army is. You're like burning through so many scans trying to find it. Unless you already know where it is to kind of like localize the search effort, it's very difficult. Not ideal at all, but yeah, like we were saying earlier, this is ideal for Light, that we've got this opportunity to both attack and defend at the same time, expanding towards the 6 and getting a third gas online and an easily defendable 6, and we don't have to worry about pushing across the map here. This is like a pretty ideal circumstance for Light in terms of positional advantage, but doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win the game easily here. He's gone for a bit of a bunker expand build, trying to get as much economy as possible. We see that the Protoss player, not even finishing up his Nexus, and he's going to be happy once his SCV spots that this Nexus is a little bit away from finishing, so he's going to be feeling good about his build order choice. But it doesn't mean he's out of the woods. I mean, Best is the kind of guy that will kill positions that don't look killable. So even if Light does get into a good spot here, Best still might just wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, this is alright for Best. He's opted for just a Dragoon expand, one single Dragoon. Into a Nexus. He's got pressure coming out now with the range going to be finishing up in a moment. He can deal some damage to that bunker, force out the repair, and he also killed the SCV right off the bat, so he can start to hide some tech and throw off Light a little bit. Maybe an early Reaver, with very few units out, could deal some damage. We'll see what Best brings forward to the table. Engineering Bay coming down now for Light. He kind of has to prepare for a lot of different possibilities, and the eBay is that catch-all detection that will give him more of a robust chance of dealing with anything that Best could be going for. But Best is not doing any sort of aggressive play. He's actually going to throw down a 5-minute third base, a very fast third base instead.
Yeah, gonna want to make sure he's got 3 SCVs, 1 per Dragoon, repairing that, paying the tax price on their repair bill there. And yeah, usually as Terran, you've got these like 3 main tech choices in TVP. When do you get your Armory, Academy, and engineering bay. And what order you get those three things are super crucial. Sometimes, you know, you have to just rush for that eBay to like kind of cover all of your bases. Sometimes with good scouting information, you can like cut on that and say, I'm going to get only my academy and armory and play a little bit more aggressive and just cut out on turrets completely, because I feel like I don't even need that, and I'm just going to use like scans and Goliaths as my anti-air early game and try and optimize that way. A lot of options for you as Terran to kind of mix things up and try and optimize your builds. So you'll see players trying to figure out how late can they make certain buildings like that eBay.
Well, I like the way that Light's decided to optimize his build and play this one out. He's gone for the early eBay to be very defensive, but he's also gone for a very quick starport so that he can put on a little bit of aggression to Best at the same time. So he's mixing a bit of both into his play style and may be able to get in here right before the Observer. Okay, the Observer sees it. Now he should be sending all of his Dragoons back into the main base. He should know right now is the timing when these dropped vultures should be coming in. He's going to throw down a building just in time, but there's a spot at the bottom there. SimCity is not perfect, and these vultures can get in and get a couple of kills.
Yeah, one of the Dragoons bugged out on the ramp as well, trying to get those Dragoons back into the main base. So not ideal here, defense from Best. Couldn't get that SimCity set up like you said as well. Going to be getting one of those vultures out on the evac. And yeah, Best should have been a little bit more well prepared in dealing with Light. He knows Light is well renowned for his vulture drop style. He likes to go for this so much. So you should kind of anticipate this from Best, I feel like, and just kind of go for a vulture drop SimCity almost every single time against this guy.
Best will fill in that wall with the pylon there at the bottom. If he had that pylon, it would have been a perfect defense, actually. I don't think he would have lost even a single probe.
Right.
Dragoons were there in time. The Observer got in and saw that starport just in the nick of time, and unfortunately, that's just not the way that it turns out. However, Best has such an early third Nexus. I think he's going to be able to, with really diligent macro, be able to pump out enough probes to make up for those losses.
Yeah. I'm curious, will Best just like go for like a massive like 10-ish minute smash kind of play and just try and like macro as many units as possible and like ram it down Light's throat, or will he be a little bit more cautious in his own approach here? It's just as easily Best could take a fast fourth base here and go a little bit greedy on the economic curve, but he's not usually that kind of player. He's much more likely to go for a free base timing. Do you have another dropship coming around on this vertical vector on the right hand side though, saying maybe something can be done? There's enough Dragoons in position to deal with, and the count I don't think is going to get a lot done, and Dragoons spot it as well.
Yeah, he sees the Dragoons and just backs away, throwing down a scan in the main base, trying to figure out what exactly is going on, but it looks like a typical Best game, just a bunch of gateways. We've got the Robo, fourth base on the way here at 8:40. Back at home for Light, this looks to me like a third base is going to be coming soon. We've got 5 factories to be really safe and push out cautiously, but Best is throwing caution to the wind, just taking such an aggressive fourth and not really worried about Light pushing anytime soon.
Well, I was curious if we would see a little bit of a variation from the usual. Like Best doesn't usually go for this like fast fourth style, but it looks like he's identified that this is maybe the best way to play, and maybe force Light's hand and force Light to consider coming out to push him, and then using that as a way of bringing the siege tanks out of position to dismantle later. I'm curious to see how this will pan out for Best. Light is a very, very well-experienced player. He's not going to be blindsided as easily as some of these other Terran players would by Best shenanigans. So I'm curious to see how this game pans out. And Light is very knowledgeable about how to deal with certain weird situations, and he's scanning up to this high ground. Going to be taking this ground away from him. I think he should take the 6 o'clock base as his third, and just attack and defend at the same time. Attack this fourth base would be ideal here, I think, for Light if he can get that going. Has a few SCVs here for repair. Maybe building some turrets soon once he gets onto buildable terrain. I think this could be really good for Light.
Absolutely. I saw that Light, as he got his vulture over to that fourth base, he immediately unsieged all of his tanks and just sent them over towards this base to finish it off. And I think that Light looked at that and just said, "Wow, that's illegal. You can't pull that off." Best is getting a little bit too greedy, and he's gonna get punished here. Shuttle flying into the main base potentially. You might lose that. Oh, the Reaver's so low. He finds that one position where none of these turrets can hit, and I guess the Reaver will stay alive for now. Zealot speed is not even done yet. Best almost has to take this engagement against a very well entrenched Light. Without Zealot speed, it's going to be so tough to make it work. He's even going to start to lose gateways. There it is. It's done. There's no mines on this right-hand side, and the Zealots will get right on top of this. Whoa, 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 whoa. We've got some lag going on. The Zealots jump right on top of these tanks. Oh my goodness, he's clearing this up so well. Great targeting on these Dragoons with the tanks, but he's going to completely reset that count.
Yeah, I mean, that was good target firing, but there was just so many Zealots, and now lots of Vultures going to pour in and try and help deal with those. Now the Dragoon herd has been thinned out, but it might be too little too late. So much value from these Zealots and Best. Light might be able to stabilize with the Vulture on Zealot composition, but eventually Best is going to churn out more rounds of units, and Best can now expand his mineral only in the top right as well. This is looking pretty good for Best.
The game state has kind of been reset in a lot of ways. The Nexus went down. The 4th Nexus died. He's going to retake a Nexus. And Light, I mean, he lost his 3rd. He's got another CC building in his main, though. Maybe we are going to get that long game where Light kind of turtles up after losing all these tanks. I don't think he has much of another choice.
Yeah, right. I thought Light was advantage, and now after all the dust has settled, it looks like the game state is, like you say, pretty much reset. And now that after all the trades went pretty best-sided, now I think this is playable for both players. We might see a super late game. We might be having a crazy long game on this map, and we might be seeing a split map situation here.
A little bit early to say, but Light, I mean, he's going to have to take this one long if he wants to stand a chance of winning. I really, in retrospect, of course, feel like staying there was a mistake for Light. Taking that base out was fantastic. I love the decision right as soon as he saw the 4th to just unsiege everything and go there, but staying was clearly not the right choice. Yeah. Allowing Best to just macro. He had such an early 3rd. He had so many gateways up. If Light had turned around and just backed away, how good of a spot would he be in right now? He would have been able to get his 3rd up. He would have delayed the 4th by so much, and he still would have had his tank count together. That's just not the universe that we live in, though. Light pushed across the map. He was too greedy keeping that army there, and he's been punished. He's just going to sit back and try to macro out of this position, but Best is going to start to take the majority of the map. He's going to start to take top right-hand corner. It'll be up to Light to just harass a little bit with these Vultures, try to keep the probes off the map, and of course Best will be sharking around looking for anything he can kill off with these Dragoons, getting rid of these mines and clearing out the map for a potential dive in. Oh my goodness, 4 shuttles. Is he going to pull the trigger and just go?
He made a very early second robo. He might just be pulling the trigger. I noticed, like, while you were talking, like half a minute ago, I saw the second robo. He's making a lot of shuttles, saying he might be going for the best maneuver right now. So many mines have been laid. It might not be enough to screen. Zealots and Dragoons and shuttles diving in. A lot of Vultures clumped up. Does start to dive bomb. Trying to get the mineral mine detonation on those clumps of Vultures. Doesn't get the Templars out in time. Beautiful target firing from Light here. Light has done a great defense and target fired almost perfectly during this engagement. Best has to tuck tail and run, and now will have to be desperately trying to expand and play catch up. Best, unfortunately, relying on his usual shenanigans, not going to be paying off. And now the siege tank going to be getting a bit of a tactical maneuver on this top right quadrant in middle only, denying the mining base with this siege tank, and now has some mines being laid up here. This is starting to be really annoying for Best.
I feel like I'm watching a tennis match. Things are bouncing back and forth so quickly. Light had an amazing setup over at that natural. One of those setups where you look at it and you say, there's no way that the Protoss player should ever attack in there. But then you remember that it's Best playing, and so you have to hold your tongue. However, that was definitely not the correct choice. Diving in there, he loses everything.
Yeah.
Best has just reset his entire army, and Light is ahead in supply. That's scary.
Oh, man. I mean, Light is not necessarily like the bestest player of all time or anything, but he's got so much experience under his belt that if you don't punish him, if you let him do his thing, he is just so adept in the late game decision making. You have to get some kind of like early mid game. Oh, look at this probe transfer, interception with the vultures. That's so much economic damage, and the tank getting more damage done in this 3 o'clock base as well. This is crazy for Light. He's looking pretty healthy in this game going forward. At best is clearing up these efforts, but now that Light's getting this other base online, this is looking juicier and juicier for the Terran player. As long as he can avoid disaster by getting his like tanks caught or something, this is looking really good.
Yeah, Best just doesn't have that supply lead that we're used to seeing from him. 160 supply Terran. It should be Best sitting on 200, but he threw away so much army trying to break Light on 3 bases. Now he's got no chance of breaking him on 4.
Right.
The position is too good. He's going to drop Zealots and Templars in this base, try to get a bunch of damage with some storms. He gets some pretty decent damage, but no kills on these SCVs, are very few kills.
Yeah.
As the SCVs escape with a lot of light scarring, some damage to the hull, but not a lot of actual economic pain there suffered by Light. This is insane. He's dealt with everything so well. Best has so many shuttles coming out, so many Templar. I mean, we're going to still need a miracle, though, to win a fight against this Terran behemoth army.
Yeah, we will say. And I mean, it's usually the follow-up storm drops that do the real damage, assuming good pulls from the Terran player and good reactions. The SCVs get softened up by the first storm drop, and then the second storm drop kills everything, because even if they are drilling, the storms do enough damage to kill them before they can slide out of the sprite. Best is trying to like get around the map and clean out some of the mines and have some kind of idea of the map control, but look at how much meat there is on the bone for Light. There's no real map control for Best. When Light wants to, he's going to seize terrain, and you can't really frontally assault this Terran army once it's in like full formation. Tries to coming back for another storm drop. This is what we were talking about. The follow-up storm drops can be deadly once the SCVs have already been softened up. So many SCVs going down at that base. Pretty good, pretty ideal. Not too bad at all. Light now plummeting to 160 supply after the macro cycles. It honestly looks still pretty healthy even after losing that many SCVs, and the D-matrixes in the front look really good. Like, I don't think Best is going to hold this army off.
Yeah, a lot of SCVs went down, but the problem still remains. The army is insanely strong, and it's bearing down on the natural now. Wow, so much has died over at that base. Light really needs to make something happen with this army, or he's going to be in trouble. Still, the army is looking so good. Great storms on some of these tanks, but look at how far back that tank line extends. Best needs to buy a bit more time, get a few more macro rounds out for that those kills on the SCVs to really start to take effect.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Light, and the supplies tell a different story because the SCVs died, so there's actually a lot more army than the supplies kind of indicate. Does finally get some good Sonic Storms on this southern flank, though. Maybe can clear up enough of these tanks to slow down the onslaught, get enough macro rounds of units out that Best can actually start to hold. He just needs to weather the storm and not die right now, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Light's going to squeeze him out of this game. Look at this position that Light is currently taking. As long as he just keeps splitting all of his tanks and keeps them all nice and spread and doesn't lose too many to the clumps of storm, this is looking devastating for Best to handle.
There's still a few Goliaths in this army preventing the shuttles from running rough over all of these tanks and picking them off with good efficiency. He's finally going to take 6 o'clock, like we were saying, for most of this game. Taking this while attacking across the horizontal axis is very strong. It's going to be so much harder for Best to get in that base than it was for him to get into center left.
Right. This is just a crazy game state that we have right now. I don't think that Best, if he just doesn't lose any more bases, doesn't take too much damage, can get some gateways up in the top right, he'll be okay. Oh, he's losing the shuttle as well. This is not ideal at all. He's clinging on by a thread. He's looking okay. He's got some units coming around the back. See if he can get into between the army, get a wedge into this rally point, and then maybe get some damage onto this new base that's being set up at the 6 o'clock. Would be huge, but he's actually ignoring that and wants to dive onto the tanks in the back line. This might be okay for Best if he can start to siphon off a little bit of the army and turn some of the attention away for Light to bring some of these units from the front back to defend against these units here in the 6. Maybe there'll be enough time bought here for Best. The supplies seem to indicate that, but it's hard to tell of how many SCVs that have died.
40 supply advantage that Best has. I mean, he's got to bring it to bear somehow against a portion of the army. This is where he needs to attack in, actually. If he brings all these shuttles out and eliminates the tanks at the front that aren't being covered by Goliath right now, like, he could kill every single tank right there.
Yeah.
He's sending shuttles around the bottom side, and they're going to get caught. This is so bad for Best. Oh, my goodness. Everything falls apart as he tries to make it through the bottom. No. Best.
Not like
the
this, Sam.
Ape King.
Not like this.
He loses it. He loses everything.
The bowler cap falls off and his IQ points just plummet, unfortunately, and didn't make the right decision in that moment. It lost so much value in so little time. 800 minerals worth of shuttles alone, let alone all the zealots and templars that are probably inside them. That's a monstrous loss to bear. Now supplies looking closer to even. Not ideal at all for our Protoss player, who now can't even put on any pressure on this newly taken 6 o'clock base. And he's not even got any gateways really up online on this top right. Not many anyways. This is looking more and more dire for Best as the moments tick by. There might be a killing move start to be executed here by Light if he can get some more army out onto the map.
He's still at an incredibly low supply. +3 is done, but 122 is not usually the supply that Terran ends up winning at. It's more like 160 to 180 is when the pushes can be effective. However, this has been such a scrappy game back and forth with big losses of army on either side and failed pushes on either side. There's a chance that Light actually just wins straight up here, but there's also a chance that another army gets thrown away and Best somehow manages to switch things back into his favor. Now pushing down towards this 6 o'clock. He's trying to just backstab his way to victory, but Light is being very quick to engage his army, send his army around to defend this base and prevent any of these counterattacks from working out. And now he's ahead in supply. Things are looking grim.
Wow, man, Light is just so good. Like, I don't know if he can. I don't know if the Best can do this. Like, he's finally got this base online in the top right, but he doesn't have another rally point of like more gateways to attack from multiple angles. Now that the army is out on the map like this and pressuring, he Best just can't build enough units to deal with it. He can't even like build anything really on this northern flank to pressure and help defend from the north as well. Like, there's just no real hope for Best in this game. He's going to get some of his bases just absolutely squashed. Light's going to play whack-a-mole with the Protoss blue that's on the map right now. Oh, man.
Only one storm gets off there. These tanks might actually end up getting picked off. There's some zealots that are headed in this direction, but in the end, Light reinforces that position, and so it's looking less and less breakable. There's only a few scattered gateway units sitting around the map, looking for an opportunity to dive in, but they're not in high enough numbers to make a dive worth it. Meanwhile, more bases coming up. Oh, did we miss something at 6 o'clock? I guess more SCVs maybe went down to some sort of drop here. Another
Storm
Templar
drop.
with Storm going to get in here and deal some more damage. A lot of SCVs go down. Really only one base mining for Light. So there's maybe still some hope with this dive. Can he actually make it work? Zealots right on top of everything. A great D-Matrix there. The mine connections are huge. Oh my goodness, those mine connections ending this game.
Wow.
Light finishes with just 107 supply and probably 20 SCVs left.
That's crazy, man. That's so wild. He's barely doing that as well. Like he's running out, like you say, like so much gas is like not remaining in that tank. He can't keep going for much longer. And Best just has to hold on. He can't do it. It's a valiant effort from Best, though. We didn't even get to see the amount of storm drops that were going on at 6 to try and pull himself back into that game after losing shells for free. It was a valiant effort, though. Almost did it, but Light's just too good.
I think Light kind of read Best there. Knowing his style, he's like, oh, yeah, you're definitely going to try and just bomb my 6 o'clock, aren't you? Let's put some Goliaths down next to the bottom of the map and see if we can catch those shuttles making their way in there. That was really the big moment, but even before that was that attack into Light's natural. Man, what was that? I mean, that was so on brand for Best, but still... Right. You gotta question the decision of just ramming down a huge army into such a nice spread of Terran forces. It's hard to imagine that actually working, even though it is Best.
Yeah, we say that though, but sometimes he does it and it works, and it's like, you know, I don't know. This time it didn't though. Light was just too well prepared in his defense. The mine spread was also really good. Like it's such a well defensive setup from him. But Best is usually the guy that can break those unbreakable setups. Not today, says Lai. Maybe Best should have just been a little bit greedier instead and, you know, switched up his behavior tree a tiny bit. But not going to be happening today. Instead, we're going to be seeing Light as the victor and getting the points for that Terran squad. A much needed win here for Terran.
All right. Wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got a beautiful tight race here. 4-3-2. Terran taking the lead now after dipping down into second place in week number 2. But it's anyone's game in in season number 5, excuse me. The first season 5 we've ever had in KCM. Yeah. It's I guess a year of firsts here with the first, you know, radical martial law being called as well during this season. I think that only lasted for 4 hours. That's got to be some sort of a record, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see democracy prevail, though. You like to see it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and Jaedong just wasn't up to scratch, so the Tyrants couldn't quite get in there with the Doom Drop and Punish, and just got absolutely smashed by the Sonic Storms on point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really showcasing the importance of SimCity. You know, the Koreans with so much practice in that regard, able to barricade the entrances of the Democratic Hall, get that vote done, was great to see. Those skills coming in clutch for the Korean, the Korean squad. Yeah, we joke, guys, but you know, craziness. A lot of craziness going on in the world right now. We're just here to escape from all that madness and watch some great Starcraft, and that's what it's always been good for me. Yeah, I'm sure you can agree with me on that, Shun.
We've been playing this game for enough decades to definitely concur with that statement. I'm sure many viewers as well share that sentiment. This has been a part of our lives for a long time, I imagine.
Yeah, it's been my escape since high school.
Right.
Since back in the days of GOM TV and Klazart Mole Trap and...
Yeah. For me, it's been even longer than that.
The old tack.
Yeah, I remember those days, but I remember like years before that. I remember playing this game when I was a wee nipper.
Yeah, playing before that, but that was really my first view into actual competitive StarCraft and what it could be, the heights of what is actually possible in this game. And I feel like we're reaching new heights as we go into 2025. This game is continuing to grow and to level up, to evolve in front of our eyes.
Yeah. Like, can I just point something out? I'm loving the pattern of like the Zerg and the Terran kind of like spiral together like a helix at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like look at this current trajectory of the points. Look how like the red and blue are like kind of wrapped around together, and the underline of the Protoss as well.
It is starting to form a pattern. We'll see if that continues. Going on into week number 4, that's going to be coming out. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing for the holiday season, by the way, guys. There are probably going to be some breaks for Christmas and that. It's a very popular holiday in Korea. So stick with us. Follow me on Discord. Links in the description. I'll let you guys know when those weeks are canceled or what's going on with the holidays. You can also follow me on Patreon and make announcements about what's going on with KCM there as well. All your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, it's a solid week, solid cast.
Yeah. Some good games. I don't know what was going on with Best, though. What the fuck? That Best Light game was...
Yeah, a bit off. Yeah.
was a bit ridiculous. Oh my gosh. What was going on in either of those two guys' heads, actually?
It was weird, because like Best looks so good in the PvZ, but not good in the PvT. It's usually the other way around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
It was wacky. Really, really wacky.
I think Light is just like one of those Terran players that your usual gimmicks don't quite work in the same way against him. You know what I mean? He's such a well-coordinated and experienced player that he can like suss out your shenanigans and like find a way of disrupting them a bit better than any other Terran player can. Even if the other Terran guy is technically a better player, like Light just has so much experience that mid to late game, his decision-making just always seems better.
Yeah. It's funny. It really just didn't look like Best. Like if I go back and look at the engagement in the natural, like he just like threw his army in and the shuttles all died. It was so confusing. Like everything was so spread. He sends in the shuttles. Usually he spreads the shuttles and he pulls one back, the one that has the Templar in it.
Yeah.
I think he messed it up.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no, he pulled one shuttle back to a drop on top of the mines. And then the other shuttle didn't even drop one unit. It died. And then the rest of the shuttles just dropped all on top of each other. Well, that was a great mine pull, but... And then the Templar got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yikes.
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 Wait, by the way, what is the time difference for us right now? Because I know that it changed recently. What is it right now for you?
8:30 p.m.
Oh, okay. It's 11:30 for me. I got Poe to the trail later.
You got what? Sorry?
Poe 2. Puff XL2.
Oh,
release,
yeah.
Tonight.
That's coming out today?
Yeah. The early access today, Ooh.
So you paid for early access?
Oh, no. I got given a key. I wasn't even like super hyped. I just was like following the game and interested about it. And I was like prepared to just like play it whenever. But yeah, someone was like, here's a key, come play with me. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
Didn't have to pay for it. It's nice. Yeah.
That's great. I might play it when it comes out on the free release. When is it coming? In like a few days or?
Oh, you'll be able to get the game very soon, but I'm not sure about how they're doing the pricing. Like eventually the game will be free, but I'm not sure if it'll be free until it's like been out for a while. I don't know when they're doing that. It's like you'll be able to try to get it soon, but I'm not sure if you have to pay for any form of early access. I think they're doing like 2 weeks of early access. I think, is it 2 weeks? It might be 2 weeks. Maybe you can get it for free after the initial like 2 weeks are up. But they're doing like 2 weeks, 2-ish weeks of early access and play testing. and you're getting half of the content initially. So you get you get in 6 classes and then like 3 acts of the game. But they said that the rest of the game is like 80% done. They're just polishing. So you'll during the early access, they might even start adding more content on really rapidly. So they're already dropping the early access with 6 classes and 3 acts, and there might be like upwards of 12 classes and more acts as the early access goes on and the release comes out. I don't know what exactly is going to happen, but apparently everything's almost done. It's just a bit of polish they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
They probably want to have like an early release to make sure that the servers work.
I imagine that's what they're doing. Yeah,
makes sense.
And there's a good way of making money for the
fun.
game, because like the game is going to be free, but a good way of making money is by like getting a lot of people paying for early access and shit. You know what I mean? So like they can pay for skins, they can pay for early access, they can pay for stash tabs. But the game is technically free, but you can choose to support in these other ways if you want. You know what I mean? So they're going to make a lot of money even though the game is going to be free. So they're going to be double dipping. They're going to be getting the benefits of being a free game and getting a shit ton of money still because of how much hype there is. They got 1 million redeems. 1 million. So like you can imagine, let's say potentially that's like 10, 20 plus million just on early access alone. Easily, right there.
You're going to have class for 1 hour? Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Sounds good. Sorry, Mio was just talking to me.
No worries.
You were saying about...
Oh, yeah, they're going to make bank just off of early access alone. They're going to make like 20, maybe plus million off just people redeeming early access keys and wanting to play early because of how much hype there is. That's not including skins. That's not including skins, stash tabs, or any other microtransactions. They're not paid to win microtransactions. It's all just like cosmetic shit and like quality of life stuff. But that doesn't matter. Like there'll be so many people that are hyped about the game that they'll throw money at the game to support it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they'll make bank even though the game's free.
Yeah, it's like League of Legends or something like that, right?
Right. There's enough hype that
as long
it
as
works.
It's a really good game, then people will be willing to buy stuff. It's almost like a better.
It is a better model.
Way to get money.
But it's more difficult because you have to kind of like go all in and balls to the wall and actually care about making a good product.
Yeah.
Because if your product sucks, it doesn't work, right? Because there won't be enough hype.
Did you hear that they had a new skin in League of Legends? It's $250.
Yeah, the Jinx skin. Yeah, I heard about that. It's like a luxury. They even made like a new section for it, like exalted skins or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Crazy how it's easy. Crazy how much you can market to people.
Crazy how much people will spend, on cosmetics.
You won't catch me doing that shit.
No. That's like some like idiocracy thing or whatever, where people are buying like pants for their avatar or something like that.
I mean,
or like Black Mirror shit.
I can see people like Elon Musk that have like so much money that they can just throw it at it and not care. But there's people out there, not just whales, but there's people out there that like do it as like some kind of like status symbol. Like people that like care more about buying trainers than like buying like stuff for their house. You know what I mean? Like they care about looking good rather than actually having something of substance. It's not healthy for society to have that mindset.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's definitely not good.
What can you do?
Yeah, it's like it's funny that they call it a luxury good because like most luxury goods are for suckers anyway, right? Like the main people who buy luxury goods are actually
that's the weird I was about to say the weird thing about it is the people that they're marketed to is usually people that can't afford it in a weird way because it's like they want it to be like a FOMO thing of like, oh, you really want to have this thing because once you have this thing, then you'll have the status symbol. I think there was a good episode on there was an American Dad episode or something where it was like they found like a Lamborghini tire, like not even a Lamborghini car, like just the wheel for a Lamborghini, and like that in of itself had so much status symbol that they were going up to clubs with the Lamborghini tire and the wheel, and that was helping them get into clubs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like madness level shit.
That's funny.
The weird world we live in today is like the way we put value on things, and like these luxury goods, like what do they really have value? There's no real value there. The only value there is what you think there is. It's an illusion. Like it's like the Game of Thrones quote of "power resides where you believe it to," right?
So everybody who's actually rich and doing well doesn't really give a shit about that stuff. It's only people who are poor who want to look like they are doing well and to buy that.
Yeah.
Spend all their money on that shit.
Yeah. This is weird.
I heard that people were like taking out advances on their salary to buy the $250 Jinx skin.
Oh my god!
I'm like, my gosh,
it's an illness. It's an illness, honestly. It would be okay if it was actually marketed towards only Wales, and like only Wales bought it, the people that already had loads of expendable money. But that's not true, is it? The reality is a lot of people that can't afford it buy it too.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Holy shit, Twitch ads are getting kind of ridiculous. I guess they're back. I just clicked on Love Snow stream and there's like insane long ads. Actually, it was Tasteless stream. I just moved over to Love Snow stream now. But like the ads were like 45 seconds long.
Damn.
Fucking insane, unskippable ad.
Great.
Wild.
Well, I don't think it'll ever go back. I think like they'll never make as much money from ads as they used to.
Maybe not. I don't know. It's fucking Wild West, man. Shit's never been done before. This is all new.
Yeah, but it's Twitch's fault. They have like, it's like UK policing, but 50 times worse. Like they don't have a standard for everything. It's all biased bullshit.
Yeah.
None doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, it's a good analogy. It's like UK police, like they have like some sort of weird political agenda, and they don't have like a moral standard. They just have, or like a,
No.
It's not like, okay, we just don't want people to talk about X. It's like, oh, you can talk about it if you have this type of political leaning, but you can't talk about it if it's this. Like, it's that type of weird shit where it's like, oh yeah, it's not racist if it's against white people. That type of shit. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you're completely lost.
I mean, personally, I think you're being racist if you start treating people too differently based on their race. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I think you're already setting yourself up to fail with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid.
What can you do?
I don't know. I guess you can support people who don't talk about that shit, or who are on the who share your ideals, your values, and then fucking just shit on people who don't. That's all you can do.
Yeah, but the real wild thing is when you're not allowed to talk about that stuff, and like in the UK, they literally end up throwing people in prison for Facebook posts, and there's like real criminals that aren't in prison. You know what I mean? Yeah,
your comment on a Facebook post, or you shared the story.
Yeah,
and they show up at your house.
Even if you just share it, like if you like propagate something else that's deemed not good, you know what I mean? Like that's fucked. You know, even that will get you fucked. Yeah, it's not good.
That's so fucking scary.
I'm glad I don't use Facebook and shit, dude. Like, I don't have to worry about it. Like, but yeah, that's the worrying thought. Like, imagine that you share the wrong thing one day, and then all of a sudden you got Bobby knocking on your door. Hello, mate. Come with us.
Fuck that. You guys gotta sort yourselves out over there.
Yeah, well, not enough people with backbones, unfortunately. What can you do?
That's fucked.
Like their family members fought and died for freedoms that people today so easily throw out the window. I don't get it personally, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about it as an individual. Like on a small scale, I can do a little bit, but on a grand scale, you kind of need more people stepping up. Do you know what I mean?
Wild.
Yeah. I mean, I'm brave enough to talk openly about it, but you got to be somewhat careful about what you say. You know what I mean?
This fucking guy, oh my gosh, this fucking annoying twat. I'm just gonna just some fucking idiot on commenting on my video. Holy crap. Still on stream?
Yeah. Just so you know.
This shit is so fucking dumb. I know it's a you know, Broodwar related. So I'm watching, or I comment on larva game, like an old larva game anyway. I'm saying I in the cast I say that you know, larva has an extra base.
Yeah.
You know, larva's got one extra base, so you know he is mining more than the Protoss, but that doesn't mean that you know, he's necessarily going to win, because the Protoss can get way more efficient against Zerg in the late game.
Yeah.
And this fucking guy says about how my commentary is way off, and that you know, the rest of the bases are
Which video is this?
It's just the newest one.
Okay.
The Zerg is not 1 but 2 bases ahead of Protoss. It's like, yeah, that's what the fuck are you talking about? No shit. If Zerg takes an extra base, then the Protoss can't mine that.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, if you have something, it's not just you having something, it's them not having something. So the disparity is 2, not 1.
Yeah, it's like, did I really need to explain that in the cast for you to understand that? Like, he says, check the math. Shut the fuck up.
Maybe he's trolling you, because that's fucking ironic as fuck. Check the math, saying.
Like, what the fuck? I said, bro, first of all, when I say he's up a base, it should be obvious that what I mean is he has a 2 base advantage. Like, if he mines 1 extra base, then Protoss can't mine it. That's basic math. I don't think it needs to be explained. And like, he's like, oh, now you're just being silly. Sorry, this is the point where I have to stop reading and stop taking someone seriously. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
I think he's trolling.
Holy shit, this guy.
Oh, man.
Oh, and then the other thing, this is even more retarded. At the end of the first comment, he says, and no, the trades were not nearly good enough to equalize disadvantage of 2 full bases worth of resources. So in the long run, it would have been Protoss that would have run out of minerals if it were down to the wire. Okay, sure, buddy. Perhaps Rich understood this, and that's why he left after 32 and a half minutes, even though you said it would be impossible for the game to finish in less than 40 minutes. Like, I said that the game could go on for 40 minutes because he's got 7 bases. Like, the Protoss has, you know, he's got another main and natural. So, like, you can't win in less than 40 minutes unless the fucking Protoss just leaves the game. But, like, oh, your commentary is way off because he left at 32 minutes instead of after 40. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about?
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. These people are absolutely fucking retarded. Like I thought, like I know that people who enjoy StarCraft in general are of a higher IQ than people who watch, fucking, or who are into like FIFA or pretty much any other game, but there's still some fucking retards out there, man. It's crazy. Like if we're higher than average, like I can't imagine what the fucking average is.
Yeah. Man, YouTube comments are a wild place though. In general.
Yeah.
I've heard that on, like, I'm not sure about on YouTube, but I know on some media platforms that the comments are also curated, like algorithmic. So, like, say you could look at the same content and two people have totally different comments highlighted. You know what I mean? Like, you get like a little echo chamber of comments and social media posts, not just the content you scroll, like as in like which content you see, but even if you're looking at the same content, you'll be seeing a different curated collection of comments to more align to your beliefs and values, so to speak. So you see even bigger echo chamber than we originally thought, maybe.
This guy is fucking infuriating. I gotta just like clearly him.
Why are you so annoyed by him?
Just the like the what's it called? Like the way that somebody talks, you know what I mean? Like the like weird like talking down to you while being completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? I fucking hate that so much. Like talking with confidence and like talking down to the other person while being obviously wrong is just so.
I mean, I would have to like listen to the commentary and see the comments to know for sure exactly what happened to even make sense of what he's saying. But for me, it's just funny.
It's just hilarious. Like imagine. Just imagine this scenario where Protoss has taken, they've got their main and they've got another main base on Polypoid, and they have an extra base, so that they're holding just barely less than half the map.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and you say in the cast, well, this game is probably going to go past 40 minutes now. There's no way for the Zerg to end before that time. Like, it's going to take so long for the Protoss to mine out, and he can just hang on. He could just bunker down and stay for an insane amount of time. And then the Protoss player leaves, and the guy's like, wow, you were wrong. Fuck you. Oh, terrible commentary. It's like, I can't predict when the fucking guy's going to leave. It's so stupid. So fucking dumb.
No.
Anyway, I'm actually just gonna start deleting people, or just like permaban them from the comments when they're annoying.
Just let them do their thing. You just practice some stoicism. Just try and see the funny side to it. Don't take it too personally. You're gonna get sausage monkeys. You're gonna get bots. You're gonna get armchair generals that think they know what they're talking about and don't. You're gonna get all kinds of people. You gotta, take it in stride. It is what it is at the end of the day.
I'm just gonna like get rid of them. Fuck them.
Me personally, I disagree with that approach. I think that you shouldn't censor. I think you should just either give the correct answer in response and challenge the bad speech with good speech. I don't think censoring bad speech is the right approach in general, but it's up to you what you want to do with your channel.
I agree that not like censoring bad speech is not good in the context of a government. But in the context of my personal media feed,
that's what I mean. It's your own personal channel, so in this context, it's whatever you want at the end of the day.
Yeah, just gives me a little bit more peace.
Me personally, I think it's up to you. Yeah, me personally, I think you should let it roll. But it's up to you. Your channel.
How's the export going? Did you get the audio?
Oh yeah. Yeah, finished
All
recently.
right, send it over. Send it over.
Alright.
I'm gonna go make some dinner.
Sounds good.
All right, talk to you later.
Take it easy, buddy.
Bye.
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna go and probably get some food as well. I'm looking forward to playing some Path of Exile 2 later with my boy. Super excited times to be living in. Crazy stuff. We're on the right timeline, guys. Don't be dismantled. Don't be dismayed. Stay strong.